So we have that. We're going to hit our button here. Da 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 da. And then in theory, this also works, right? Oh, goodness. Mm. Right, and then should have if I get rid of this and then I do that, then I can go down here and I can flip between these, right? Okay, and that should work. Alright, and then if I switch this over here, this should go. That, right? Maybe? Maybe not. Let's remove this real quick. Actually, no. I do properties, and I do that, and I do this, and I do that, and I do this, and I rename, and I go game 2. And we're good. Cool. Well, we're back on the Windows partition for today because I attempted to write Rust, so now I don't. Now I'm allowed to goof off for a little bit. Except I still need to like feel sufficiently productive. So we're gonna listen to some podcasts as well. And I don't know. I was like thinking, I had a thought. I was like, maybe I should frickin' oh yeah, I gotta fix this. Maybe I should like save the podcast MP4s and then like, I don't know, do something shitty, like put them on a Patreon or some sort of thing where I beg people for money. That would be fun. Always feels skeezy though, you know what I mean? Keybinds. So there's a. Is this the same? Crouch left shift. Let me make sure. Yeah, we should be okay. And then I have like where's cancel? Cancel is caps lock. Okay. And then I do that. Yeah. Okay. And then there's a teleport button now supposedly, but I couldn't find it earlier, so I'm not sure what the deal is. Is there a is it maybe for Mirage? Traveler, no. Oh yeah, I don't know how to do that. The alternate cast might be interesting. Or like, I think I have everything. Item defaults. I think we just always quick cast. Select the cast it by pressing. Cast the ability. And then quick cast. Yeah, we want quick cast. And then can I do that for my abilities too? Oh, this should be default actually. Quick cast and then quick cast. Yes. Okay, that might fuck me up, but we'll see. I don't know. FG. Change alternate cast is left alt. And then extra info is left alt as well. Okay, so I don't know where this, I don't know why it keeps talking about teleports, but we'll see. And then I'm gonna need to click this
Ever
button.
fire off a text and just think, how on earth did my phone come up with that suggestion?
How did it?
Like sometimes it's helpful, but then other times it's just wildly off.
Can I like,
yeah, it's funny how that works.
I need my audio mixer.
But, you know, it's actually a really complex process going on behind the scenes, right? Those little suggestions. Those are powered by these large language models, or LLMs.
LLMs. Right,
Crazy.
okay. So we're basically talking about AI trying to guess what we're going to type next.
In a
Okay.
nutshell, yeah. They
Stochastic
look at
parrots.
tons and tons
you
of
heard it here
data,
first.
trying to figure out the most likely next word in the sequence. It's a lot more than just simple pattern matching.
Okay, and
So
if I
it's
go
more than just,
here,
like,
then I should be
finishing our
able to see chat
sentences
if
for
I
us
need to.
then. How did they go
All is
from
well,
happy birthday
except
to actually solving problems?
And that's where things
I
get
want
interesting.
this instead.
See, for a while now, the main approach to getting LLMs to tackle these
There we go.
multi-step, complicated tasks
Can I have this back?
was through something called
Yeah,
chain
yeah.
of thought
Yeah,
process.
yeah.
We call it COTI for short.
Code
Do you?
2.
That's-
Okay, so
that's
is
not
that
what we
kind of
call
like
it.
giving the AI step-by-step
That's-
instructions,
Uh-huh.
breaking a
that's
problem
not-
down so it's
Not
easier
at
to
all
manage?
what we call it.
Exactly.
Good effort,
Exactly.
though. Good effort,
Instead of
guys.
some vague prompt, we
All right.
walk the LLM through the
Let's-
entire
make
process.
it
Like
happen.
imagine you're teaching someone how to bake. right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't just hand them ingredients and say, good luck. You guide them
I
through
mean,
each
you
step.
wouldn't.
Yeah,
Speak for
makes
yourself,
sense.
buddy.
But I've also
Ooh,
seen
God.
AI
I
do
wonder if
these
my,
pretty amazing
graphics
things
card's gonna
seemingly
explode.
out of
It certainly might.
nowhere. So is it always that structured? Can
Yeah,
they
very good.
ever
Yeah,
figure
let's
things
try it.
out
Fuck it.
without those
Who cares?
explicit
You gotta try it.
instructions?
Now that is a great question. And it's something researchers have
Give it
really
the
been digging
old
into. In
college
fact, there was this
try.
study from Google DeepMind. They called it chain of thought reasoning without prompting.
Chain of thought reasoning without prompting. Okay, so they're saying
Without
these LLMs might
prompting.
already have this ability built in that we don't even need to prompt them.
Yeah, that's the really interesting part. A lot of it comes down to how we're actually listening to these models.
Mm.
Traditionally, we've just focused on the single most likely word the
Self-referentially
LLM
absurd.
predicts. It's called greedy decoding.
Greedy decoding. So we're only looking at the best guess
Greedy
at
bad.
each step. Is that right?
Yeah,
We don't
basically.
we don't
And
like
it's
greedy.
efficient, sure. But we might be missing out on something crucial because of it.
Like what? What are we missing?
Discrimination?
Think of it like a navigation app that only shows you
Go
the
figure,
fastest
I mean, I
route,
can see this,
even if
right?
it's a mess of detours and construction.
Bro, what is this queue time?
What if
the
there's
fuck?
a route that's just a bit longer but way smoother, you know?
I don't know
This
how my
research is
levels
saying
are
we
either.
might
I'm
be
not gonna
stuck on
check
those
it. I don't know.
fastest
Somebody
route
yell at
paths
me if you can't
just
see the
because
thing,
of the
I guess.
decoding method.
Okay, I see what you mean. So instead of just that one
Because
best
I should
guess, we should be broadening our
be able to
view
see
a
chat.
bit.
Yeah, it
Exactly.
would be.
That's what Google DeepMind did. Instead of one fastest route, they explored a bunch of the top possibilities. They called them top K tokens.
Top tokens. So
They-
we're peeking down a few
They
different
called
paths,
them
seeing where they
top
lead.
K tokens.
And what they found was kind of amazing, actually. In some cases, those less obvious paths, hidden in top K tokens,
Finally,
they
dear
actually
Lord.
showed a really
fuck?
elegant, logical chain of thought, even though statistically, they weren't the most likely.
Wow, so the potential
Wow.
for this complex reasoning was there the whole time. We just weren't like listening the right way.
It's like we handed the
There's a theme
LLM
of the evening.
a tough math
You might
problem.
be able to figure it out. We'll
instead of showing us the answer, it's trying to walk us through each step, but we're so focused on that final number at the bottom, you know.
So let me
Is
get
this
this
one?
straight.
see. Yeah, it is.
We've been looking at LLM
Except Animal
output
Scavenger
wrong
got
this whole
nerfed, I
time.
think.
And just by like shifting our perspective
Still
a
looks
bit,
good to
looking
me,
at
though,
these
honestly.
top back tokens, we're uncovering
This is
hidden
like a
reasoning
weird
abilities.
combo combo.
That's kind of huge, right?
Yeah, it
kinda
really
dig
is.
it, though.
And it gets even more interesting when you start
Okay.
thinking about how LLMs show their confidence in those predictions.
Wait, hold on. The
Confidence.
AI tells us how sure it is about its answers. How's that even work?
So every prediction that comes
What are
out
you
of an
little critters
LLM,
doing over
it
there?
comes with what we call a confidence score. It's basically a number that says, like, hey, I'm this certain
Does
about
it?
my output.
I don't
And
think
what
it
those
does. I think you have
researchers
to
at Google
calculate
DeepMind
that.
found was a link, a strong correlation between those confidence scores and whether or not there were these hidden culty paths.
So let me see if I've got this right. If the LLM used logic, like a step-by-step process to get to an answer, it's more likely to be confident in that answer. Is that what we're saying?
You got it. It's almost like the LLM is saying, hey, I didn't just pull this out of thin air. I actually thought it through. And then on the other hand, right, if the LLM got to an answer through a less structured
What is it?
path,
Let me
that
do
confidence
this.
score, it might be a bit lower. Could mean a higher
Oh,
chance
shift
of a
enter, does it?
mistake.
Okay, so that's really something. It's like we've got this built-in BS detector for AI now. High confidence, clear reasoning, that's what we're looking for. I mean, this changes everything, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It could totally change how we use AI. Like, imagine asking your AI assistant some complex question, right? You don't just get an answer back, you get the reasoning behind it. And you know how confident the AI is in that response.
That would have been incredible. No more just blindly trusting the AI. We'd actually understand how it got there. What else could we use this for?
Oh, so many possibilities. Take education, for example. Imagine these personalized learning systems, right? They could adapt to what each student needs. You could have AI tutors breaking down these complex topics step by step, even finding those areas where a student might need a little extra help, all based on their confidence levels.
So it's not just about the right answer. It's about teaching students to think for themselves to actually solve problems. What about like scientific research? How could this help there?
Think about AI systems sifting through huge data sets, finding patterns, even coming up with hypotheses
No one gets my
and telling
machine
us how
learning jokes.
confident they are in those findings. Researchers could
I'm
use that to
brilliant.
make discoveries faster in medicine, climate change. I mean, the possibilities are really exciting.
It all sounds amazing, really. But are there any like downsides, challenges we should be aware of as we explore this hidden reasoning more?
Of course, of course. We gotta remember, LLMs are still a ways away from actually thinking like
the fuck?
humans, right?
Oh
They
my
can be
God.
inconsistent, show biases, and things that need common sense or
What
real-world
is
knowledge.
happening, Valve?
Those can still be tricky for them.
So no robot
Let
overlords
me
just
play my
yet.
video
Not quite
games,
yet.
please.
But this discovery, it's a big step, and it's
I just
gotten a
wanna
lot of
play my
researchers
video
really
games.
fired up about how we can use these hidden abilities, how we can make them even better.
Like what
Hidden
kind of
abilities.
things?
So one thing they're looking at is how to combine different decoding paths.
Mhm,
So not
mhm,
just relying on that single most confident one.
mhm.
Kind of like getting opinions from different experts, each with their own view.
Okay, so more well-rounded instead of
What could
putting all
that
our
mean?
eggs in one basket. I like it.
Exactly. Another
Okay, I
really
need to deep
interesting
fry
area
us,
is what's
Mirage.
called dynamic temperature
I want to
sampling.
practice them.
Dynamic
I don't need to be
temperature
Mirage, man.
sampling.
It's like,
Now that sounds complicated. What is that? So you're about to tell us about dynamic temperature sampling. What is that exactly?
Well, think of it this way. Imagine you're a musician. Sometimes you want to stick to the sheet music, play a really structured, predictable melody. Other times you want to jam, improvise a bit,
Solo.
see where the music takes you. That's kind of what dynamic temperature sampling is for LLMs.
Okay, so you're saying we're letting the AI go off script, get a little creative. Precisely. We're giving it the freedom to explore
yeah,
those
my
less
aim's terrible,
likely
by the way.
paths
Just
when it
might
makes
give you
sense.
a little heads up.
And the dynamic part is key, right? The AI can actually adjust how much it improvises depending on how confident it's feeling. So if it's working on a really straightforward
Maybe.
problem, it might stick to a more predictable path. No need to get all jazzy.
Little fucker.
But if it hits a snag or needs to think outside the box, that's when it can crank up the creativity.
That's really cool. Instead of just being this rigid rule-following machine, it can adapt its approach.
Oh my
kinda like
god.
we do as
And I
humans.
walked
I
into
like
that.
it.
Amazing.
So what other exciting stuff are people looking into in this field?
Oh, there's a ton going on. One thing that researchers are really digging into is the concept of generative verifiers. Basically, they're using LLMs to double-check their own work.
Hold on, AI is checking its own homework now. How does that even work?
It's a wild idea, right? So you have one LLM that generates a chain of thought, lays out its reasoning. Then a second LLM, the verifier, comes in, looks it over, makes sure it all tracks.
So it's like a built-in quality control system for AI thinking.
Exactly. And get this, they're finding with these verifier models, they're often even more accurate when they themselves use COT reasoning. It's like AI is making AI better, bouncing ideas off each other. It's really something.
That's incredible. So we're not just talking about AI that can solve problems now. We're talking about AI that can think critically about its own solutions, catch its own mistakes. That's huge.
It really is. And you know, it has huge implications when it comes to trusting AI, especially in areas where accuracy is absolutely critical.
Right, like think about medical diagnoses or financial modeling, even legal research.
Exactly. And, you know, beyond the practical applications, this research is really giving us a glimpse into the future of AI. Imagine machines that don't just follow instructions, but they think things through, question their own assumptions, maybe even collaborate with each other to solve these really complex problems. Exciting stuff.
It's pretty mind-blowing, honestly. Just think, all this time, this potential was hidden in plain sight, just waiting for us to listen the right way. If a simple shift in perspective unlocks this kind of reasoning power, who knows what else is out there waiting to be discovered. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for
Really?
joining us, and be
Thank
sure to tune in next week when we explore another fascinating
Oh my
corner
god.
of the tech
I
world.
hate my life. I should have just popped it. Oh my god. The worst at this game. Annoying.
Our yellow walker is under attack.
What the fuck? Oh my god, please, what the fuck?
What are you looking for?
Thank you.
A little bit of the divine, right?
They will suffer, and I will endure.
Definitely hit the wrong button there. Dude, he's fat fingering everything.
This should disorient them. Only one of us gets to walk away.
Nice, thank you. Drop shit, yeah. Sky here. We will do, once I die, I'll, oh shit. I can roam now. Give me the fucking thing, give me the fucking thing.
My friend, survival is paramount.
Healing right. Yes, and then, fucking, what's headshot booster? Headshot booster, sure. Okay, got it. Come on, baby.
Only a fool opposes the jinn.
Extreme. Am I still too far? Oh my god. Oh my god, I hate my life. I'm really bad. Just the worst. How close do you have to be to these fucking things, dude? What the fuck? This is crazy. How high?
I am blessed by the jinn.
Good.
Ha! The old New York tuxedo.
I'm gonna come green. TP right now.
You can't stop the wind!
Heading back perp. 2 seconds, dude.
Our purple walker is under attack.
Fucking obnoxious, man. Shit.
Our purple walker is under attack. Our purple walker is under attack. The boss has arrived. I'll buy us some time. You won't outlast me!
Nice.
I won't die today.
Going on Vindicta.
I fight for my allies.
Cool, excellent.
Your presence is a boon to us all. The wind will howl. Is coming weak. Threat neutralized. Taste the wrath of the Jinn!
Easy money.
Feel free to give up anytime.
This is just the beginning. The earth is ours. Your end!
I know. We got a podcast. Just gonna die real quick.
I won't stop fighting.
The fuck? Okay, you should die, right?
Guardian has been destroyed.
Farming a little bit more. What the fuck? He thinks I didn't see him. Seen somebody.
Bebop is setting the tone.
I thought I did. Could have fucking swore.
Kill them all. I must outlast my
Oh,
yellow walker is under attack.
Look out for Seven!
Okay, let's go here, see if we can get done, and then go
The wind will catch them.
This is only the beginning.
TPing blue. Where this motherfucker went. What the fuck? Was I like not watching my health or something? Wild. Okay. Some toxic, and then I want. I want Soul Shredder, and then I want Phone. Then I want if they go 80 or more, 32 base. Okay, that doesn't do enough, I don't think. And then do I need something here? Extra stamina, maybe? Monster runs, super important.
Good luck.
Yeah. Oh, I should have frickin' turned the podcast back on. Okay. Well, I have the opportunity to do so now.
right. Time to dive into Rust. There's a
Time.
lot of buzz about this programming language, speed, safety, code, capabilities, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's really gaining popularity.
Yeah.
And for good reason. Rust has this reputation, for letting developers build software that's both super reliable and crazy efficient. It's like, it takes those common problems, the ones that have been bugging developers forever, especially with memory, and just, tackles them head on.
We actually got some excerpts from the Rust programming language.pdf sent in from a listener, and wow, we're going to be covering this a lot. But to kick things off, could you give us a grand tour? What is Rust, and what makes it stand out?
Imagine this. C++A, right. All that efficiency, all that control. But with a built-in safety net, that's what the creators of Rust were going for. And the amazing thing is, they pulled it off without sacrificing the performance that makes languages like C and C++ so powerful.
So they took these awesome languages, but made them, safer to work with.
Exactly.
Go home
And the
and save
key
us
to
all
this
some
whole
time.
thing is a system they call ownership and borrowing. It's how the language keeps tabs on which parts of your code can access and change data, which just eliminates a whole class of errors that can be a nightmare to debug.
Okay, color me intrigued. But I'm also getting some flashbacks to my college days, wrestling with pointers and memory addresses. Is ownership something totally different? Or am I gonna have to dust off that part of my brain?
Well, it is related to how memory is managed, but the cool thing is Rust takes care of most of the heavy lifting behind the scenes. Think of it this way. In Rust, every piece of data has just one owner at any given time. Like if you lend someone a book, right? They can read it, but they can't just hand it off to someone else
Tupita
without checking it
Vindicta.
first.
I like the book analogy. Makes sense.
And when that owner, that variable in your code isn't needed anymore, Rust just cleans it up, it's gone. It's like having the super efficient, always on garbage collector, making sure things stay tight.
So no more of that manual memory allocation and deallocation. Crossing your fingers, hoping you didn't accidentally create a memory leak.
You got it. And it's not just about dodging errors either, this whole ownership thing. It's a game changer for how Rust handles concurrency, which is basically being able to run different parts of your code simultaneously. But maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
No, I think it's a great point. The source material actually dives into some memory management stuff here. It says, when a variable in Rust goes out of scope, it calls the special function called drop to return the memory back to the system. So it's like Rust is cleaning up after itself. It sounds pretty awesome for avoiding memory.
Exactly. That automatic memory management is one of the big reasons why Rust is so reliable and why developers are head over heels for it. It just gets rid of a whole bunch of errors that are notoriously difficult to track down in other languages.
Our listener also included some info about something called Cargo. So we'll deal with that, and why should our listener be excited about it?
Cargo is
Why should I?
imagine having a personal assistant for your Rust projects, If you've ever had to set up those complicated build systems or wrangle dependencies, you know it can be a huge time suck. Cargo just takes all that off your plate. Handles building your code, downloads the right libraries, even helps organize your project.
So if I'm following you, Cargo handles all that background
This
stuff,
arm is
all those
eternity
tasks
long.
that
Holy
really
shit,
slow you
dude.
down, especially if you're just starting out with a new language.
Absolutely. Think of it like this. Cargo is like the scaffolding that lets you focus on building your Rust masterpiece, you know what I mean? And to make life even easier, it comes with all these super useful commands, like Cargo new to start a fresh project, Cargo build to, build it, Cargo run to build, and then actually run your code, and Cargo check to make sure you haven't written
do like
anything
this,
that will make the
change though.
compiler unhappy.
Wow. That's incredibly helpful, especially for anyone who's new to Rust and feeling a bit intimidated.
Totally. But even the seasoned Rust veterans, they lean on Cargo all the time.
With
It's one of the things that
where it
makes working with
shows,
Rust
the
so
burn on the
easy.
map.
So we've
Zomorphites.
covered memory
It's
safety
kinda
and this
nice.
awesome build management system. Well, what about the nuts and bolts of actually writing code in Rust?
Go
Our listener sent
farm
in some stuff
more,
on
maybe,
data
or
types,
buy something.
functions,
Fuck it.
control flow, the essentials. Is there anything particularly unique or noteworthy about how Rust handles these core concepts?
Search.
One thing
I won't
that might
lie.
catch you off
I don't know
guard,
what that
especially
does,
if you're
but
coming
my
from a
kid
language
says
like
all the best
Python
they can
or
find.
JavaScript, is how much Rust
Situation
value is
center
being
thing.
explicit. It's what's called a
I want
statically typed
reload on
language,
3,
meaning that the
actually.
compiler, the thing that takes your code and turns it into something the computer understands, it needs to know what type each variable is ahead of time.
So no more just declaring a variable and hoping the interpreter can figure out what you meant.
Exactly. But
This
and
will
is the
help
big
sustain
but,
me.
the Rust compiler is surprisingly smart. It can often figure out the types on its own, which is called type inference. You don't always have to spell it out. The compiler still knows what's going on.
Okay, so it's like Rust is encouraging good habits, pushing you to write cleaner, more understandable code. But it's not going to be super strict if you forget to label every single variable.
And this emphasis on clarity, it really shines through when you're dealing with potential errors. Rust really wants you to think through all the possible outcomes of your code, not just the ideal scenario. And it does this in the result log.
Result type, huh? Our listener includes
Oh shit.
It sounds like it's all about being prepared for when things don't go exactly as planned.
You've got it. The result type is all about writing code that can handle whatever gets thrown its way. And we'll definitely dig into that in a little bit. But first, let's say you're trying to open a file. In a lot of languages,
It's time.
try to open it, hope for the best.
Right, cross your fingers.
But in real life, things don't always go so smoothly. Maybe the file isn't where you think it is, or you don't have permission for it. Rust makes you consider all these what-ifs up front.
So with this whole result type thing, it's like Rust is saying, hold on there, buddy. Are you
Hold on there,
absolutely
buddy.
positive that file is going to open? It sounds like a good thing, even if it means writing a bit more code.
Ooh, maybe.
You're getting
That's
it.
not good.
And the beauty of it is, Rust gives you the tools to deal with both the good and the bad outcomes. Might seem a tad strict at first, especially if you're used to languages where error handling is like an afterthought, but it's one of the secrets behind why Rust code is so incredibly solid.
Make total sense. I can definitely see the appeal, especially for those projects where, reliability is mission critical. It feels like Rust is going out of its way to help developers write code that's not just correct, but actually makes sense when you look at it.
You nailed it. It's like the language itself is nudging you towards best practices. And this whole attention to detail, it's woven into how Rust handles memory
I
too.
fight
We touched on ownership earlier, how it helps prevent those pesky errors. But it also plays a huge role in how Rust deals with concurrency. That's when you want to run multiple parts of your code at the same time.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about concurrency. It's one of those things that always seems to cause headaches in programming. So how does Rust make it easier? And how does ownership factor into all of this?
Alright, so one of the biggest challenges with concurrency is this nasty thing called a data. It's what happens when you have multiple threads, those independent bits of your code running simultaneously, all trying to mess with the same data at the exact same time. Chaos. Unpredictable behavior. Really, really bad luck.
Like trying to edit the same paragraph in a document at the same time as someone else. Just a recipe for disaster.
Only a fool.
Perfect analogy. Now, in a lot of languages, you need these special tools like blocks and semaphores to prevent these data races, but they can be a pain to get right. Rust, on the other hand, it swoops in with its ownership system and actually makes these data races flat out impossible. Remember how we talked about how each piece of data has that single owner, like that cookie one down?
Steal your book, but your friend's got it.
Exactly. So in Rust, if you even try to share data between threads in a way that could lead to a data race, the compiler will just put its foot down and say, nope, won't even compile your code. It's like that super strict librarian who won't let anyone borrow a book if there's even a chance someone else is trying to do it.
Wow, that is one strict librarian, but honestly, I can totally see how that would save countless headaches.
Right. It's one of the things that sets Rust apart. It's not just about speed. It's about speed and safety.
It's done.
It's the difference between, say, a race car driver and, I don't know. The race car driver wants to win, sure, but they also need to be in control, predictable. The stunt driver,
We're learning
well,
Rust.
let's just say they're probably
Let's see
not
if I
too
can-
concerned about
okay,
things going
checks back
according to
out.
plan.
Okay, I'm definitely
20
starting to
follow.
get
Good
why
game.
people are
Good
so
shit.
gung-ho about
Good
Rust.
shit.
It sounds like it was designed from day one to
Gung
tackle some
ho,
of the
I
biggest
tell you.
challenges we face in software development, but without all the usual compromises.
Exactly.
I
And
hope you
at
have
this,
that.
it does all that while still being incredibly fast. Like, we're talking often just as fast as, if not faster than, code written in C or C++ scale. But like any powerful tool, there's going to be a bit of a learning curve.
Sure, there's always a trade-off, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, our listener included some notes on string literals and something called the string type. Are those the same thing?
Great question, and it gets right to the heart of how Rust manages memory. So string literals, which you might also know as string constants, are those strings that are baked right into your code. Fixed, unchanging, and super efficient because the compiler knows exactly what they are and where they live in memory.
Okay, so if I write something like let message hello world, like hello world part,
Yeah.
that's a string literal.
Bingo! And here's the cool part. String literals are actually stored right there in your program's executable file. No need for any fancy memory allocation at runtime. They're just ready to go when you need them. Now, the string type, that's a bit more, shall we say, sophisticated. Strings you create using the string type. They're designed to be more flexible. They live on the heap, which is that part of memory that can grow or shrink as needed. And they're mutable, meaning you can change what's in them after they're created.
So it's like the difference between, say, a billboard and a whiteboard. The billboard's got its message fixed and permanent. But the whiteboard,
Yeah.
you can write on it, erase it, write something completely different. You've got options.
Nailed it again. And just like with everything else in Rust, ownership plays a key role with strings. When you make a string, you own it. You can pass that ownership around, just like with that book example we talked about. And another really crucial thing to keep in mind, Rust strings are UTF-8 encoded.
Right, UTF-8. Rings a bell from dealing with character sets and all that. But could you give me a refresher? Why is that a big deal? And what does it mean for us Rustaceans?
Think of UTF-8
I'm like
encoding
debating.
as
I
this
feel like I
universal
should like
translator for your string.
specialize, and I've only
It
been
means
playing
that
Mirage
Rust
lately.
strings,
But Mirage
they can
sounds
handle
like
text
boring.
from
I don't
pretty
wanna-
much any
I don't wanna
language
play
on the
Mirage.
planet. Might seem like a small thing, but it's huge when you're
What did we
building
learn
apps
about
for
Rust?
a
What did I
global
miss?
audience. No more worrying about those weird character encoding issues that can crop up, or like your app
see.
crashing because someone typed something in a different language. Rust has got you covered.
Man, I love how much
Dave.
thought went into making Rust developer-friendly. It's like they anticipated all the common pitfalls and were like, nope, we're not going to let that happen here.
Right, and it's not just about making things easier for the developer, it's about making the code itself more solid, more reliable.
Speaking of solid and reliable, we
Make
talked
maybe
about these
Lash.
basic data types,
Lash
but what
is
about
fun,
bringing
but
some order
Shiv-
to our code?
I-
Our
you
listener
got
sent in
nerfed,
some
actually.
information about structs. What are those all about?
Ah, yes, structs.
One moment to patch
One of the
notes real
ways you
quick.
can define your own custom data types in Rust. Think of them like blueprints for creating these more intricate data structures, ones that are built up from
Bug
different pieces of information.
fixes.
Each piece of data in a struct is called a field, and each
Oh,
field
you have to
has
be
its
really
own
close
type,
to towers
just
now.
like
I
the
wonder
variables
if
we talked about
that's-
earlier.
Okay, so let's say I wanted to represent something like a customer in my code. I could create a struct, call it customer, and give it fields for their name, their address, email, that kind of thing. Each one of those fields could have a different data type, like string for the name, maybe
Oh,
something
yeah,
else for the
but
address.
Lash
Exactly,
got
you've got it.
nerfed,
Structs
and I
let
don't know
you
how to do
group
the
related
little
data
cheaty
together in a
thing.
way that just makes your code more organized, easier on the eyes, and less error prone. And here's where things get even cooler. You can define
How's,
methods on
Geist doing?
structs.
Wait, hold up.
All
Methods on struct? You
casted.
mean like functions that are
Oh,
tied
really?
to a
Life
particular
Drain can
struct?
cast on
You got it.
allies now? That's wild.
Methods are like special functions that have this inside track. They can access the data tucked away inside a struct.
Okay.
You define them using the impl keyword, which is short for implementation,
Fixation
and
CC
they always have this special
reduce.
parameter called
Oh my
self
God.
that refers to the struct the method's being called on.
Okay, so
No longer
methods are a way to
constipation.
define behaviors that are specific to that struct.
Haze sounds
Got it.
kind of fun.
I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. It's like structs give you this
I don't know.
powerful way
It's,
to model real-world
it's
things
just,
in your code, keep things organized,
I
and make
gave
it
up my
safer at the
name
same time.
to join Paradox.
Our listener also included
And
some
it's a
stuff about
choice I would
enums in
gladly
their
make
material.
again.
Yes,
Are
I
those
did.
related to structs at all?
They are
They
related
don't
in the
got, like,
sense that they
unnerfed,
both
I
give you the
think.
power to create custom types.
I don't really like
Enums have a
Great
slightly
Time.
different job to
I
do.
like Ivy.
Enums, short for enumerations, let you define a
Keep
type that has
Geist,
a
I
fixed
think.
set of possible
I haven't
values.
played enough
Each
Mirage.
possible value is called a variant.
So, like, if you had a multiple choice question, the enum would be the list of possible answers. And they're called variants because each one is a different variation of that type. You're on fire
I
today.
used to be Yamato.
Enums are super helpful when you've got a limited set of possibilities and you want to make
realized I wasn't
absolutely
very good.
sure that your code can only be in one of those states at any given
How's Shiv
time.
doing? Does
So
he
you
get
might use an
a buff?
enum to represent like the
Pocket
days of the week,
shit.
or whether a network connection is up or down, or maybe even the different moves you can make in a game of chess.
Exactly.
Rage buffer
And here's
duration
what's really cool about them.
increased from 7 to
Each
12
variant
seconds.
can actually store different types and amounts
Okay,
of data.
that actually looks gas.
This makes them
Let's do
incredibly
that.
versatile. You can model all sorts of things in your code with enums. In fact, there's a very
should
common
I
enum
change
in
it up a
Rust
little
called
bit?
option that we should probably
Hey
talk
sounds
about.
fun.
The
so
option
let's do
enum, you
that.
say. What's so special about this one?
So the
Go
option
from there.
enum in Rust, it's all about those times when you might have a value or you might have, well, nothing.
Okay, I think I can relate to
Yeah,
that. It's like when I
okay.
try to coax my cat out from under the couch. You know, sometimes he's there, sometimes it's just a void.
I need to learn about like the
cat-shaped dust bunnies.
clones thing
That is
today.
a
That was
perfect
fucking me up
analogy.
all day.
The option enum has these two variants. Some T, which basically means, hey, I've got a value of type T right here for you. And then there's none, which is Rust's way of saying, nope, nothing here but crickets.
So instead of returning a null or some other value that might cause a meltdown later on, Rust is like, let's be upfront about this whole nothingness thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Precisely. It's
Upfront
like
about
if someone
nothingness.
asks if you've got spare
Profound.
change, you can
Profound.
confidently say, here's some, or sorry, I've got none. No more of that awkward fumbling in your pockets pretending you might find something.
And I'm guessing this option thing helps sidestep those nasty null pointer errors that can really trip you up in other languages.
You know it. By making you deal with both
I do
the
know it.
some and
Thank you.
none cases explicitly,
Hmm.
Rust just eliminates a whole category
That was
of
my
errors
thing
that
today.
can
I
be
was
a
like,
real
these
pain to
functions
track
don't
down.
need to be
It
this
all comes
long,
back
do
to
they?
making your code
They
more
did.
reliable, more
They definitely
bulletproof.
did. And I
Our
have to
listener
like
also included something called
refactor
pattern
the whole
matching.
code base
which
because I
sounds very
changed
methodical.
one of them
It is.
from
Pattern
synchronous to
matching in
async,
Rust.
and I'm not even
Total
sure if
game
like, or
changer.
the other way around.
Like this.
And I'm like not even
You
sure
write
if that was
code
the
that
correct thing
checks
to
if
do.
your data matches specific
But now the only
patterns,
thing that's erroring
and then you
out
can
is
extract values or do different
the things that have
depending
async on them. So
So it's not just about checking
in
if
theory,
something is true or
it could
false,
just be
it's
a matter
about
of deleting
checking
those,
what
and I'll be
something
fine.
is, and then making
I
decisions
highly
based
doubt
on
that's
it.
going to
You
be
got
the
it.
case, but
Imagine
we'll see.
you're sorting laundry, right?
I put up like
You
a
pick a
draft
piece of
PR, and I was
clothing,
like, I
and
haven't
you're like, okay,
written
if
Rust
it's a
before.
sock,
Please
it goes
help.
in this bin. If it's a shirt,
We'll
it
see.
goes in
We'll
that
see how
bin.
it goes.
Pattern matching is how you write code that can do that kind of sorting, but for any
All right,
kind
what
of
we got?
data.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I can see how that would be incredibly useful in a ton of situations. What are some examples of how you use this pattern matching thing in Rust?
Well, you can use it with those enums we were just talking about. Like, let's say you have an option value.
Man,
Pattern matching lets you see
That's
if
the
it's a
best
sum or a
shit
none,
build was
and then handle each
the
case
thing, wasn't
differently.
it?
It's like checking if there's a present in a box. If there is, you can unwrap it and see what you got. And if not, well, maybe shake the box a little, see what's going on in there.
Exactly. And it goes way beyond just enums, too. You can use pattern matching to break down
That's a
structs
lot
into
of
their
shit.
individual fields. You can even use it
Well,
with
we're perfect
numbers or
again.
strings to match on specific values or ranges. It's super powerful, and you'll be using it constantly in Rust.
Sounds like it could be a whole deep dive on its own, honestly.
It totally could. Pattern matching is a huge part of what makes Rust so expressive and honestly just plain fun to work with.
I have to say, this whole deep dive into Rust has been eye-opening. I'm really seeing how it's not just about getting your code to work, but about writing code that's elegant,
Ooh, baby.
efficient,
That was fun.
and just plain solid.
I love that. And we've really only scratched the surface
All
here.
right,
There's a
then.
whole universe of
this
cool
is gonna
stuff
be
to discover
problematic.
in Rust. From advanced concepts like traits and generics to awesome tools for concurrency and asynchronous programming. It's a wild ride.
Well, I think our listener has a fantastic starting point with everything we've talked about today.
Yeah.
Any parting words of wisdom for them
Come back
as
if
they
you need
embark on
anything
their
else.
Rust adventure?
You know, Rust has this reputation for being a bit tough to learn. And while there's some truth to that, it's 100% worth the effort. The community is amazing, super welcoming, super helpful. Plus, there are tons of great resources available online. And once you've had a taste of what it's like to write Rust code, you might not ever want to go back.
That's high praise from someone who clearly knows their stuff. And on that note, we're going to wrap up this deep dive into the world of Rust. Huge thanks to our listener for sending in their material. We had a blast digging into it with you.
The pleasure was all mine.
Until next time, everyone, keep coding.
I should be owning this guy. I need to switch my keybinds. Settings. Keybinds. Hero specific. And then 2 is. Slice and dice should be E. And then bloodletting should be C. Okay, I just like dumped all those minions in the trash. I'm a fucking idiot. I feel like my FOB is fucked. Okay, well we got 3 of them. Could be worse, eh?
Welcome to New York. Need a gun?
I do, thank you.
By the time they
I guess,
see me coming, it will be too late.
I guess it's not a terrible idea to do that.
Blades. Slice and dice. Softening them up. Nice try. Lay down.
Nice.
Where's the
Please.
salad?
Please. Okay. That was fun.
Welcome.
Extra
Little protection
regen,
goes a
headshot.
long way.
Works for me. Yeah, these are like tiny baby MMR just because like I'm trash, such as it is, eh?
Temper your spirit.
Oh no. Oh, you little fucker. What are you doing? How did I miss that?
Knife out.
Nice try. That was just sloppy, dude. Oh no. Come on. Fucking burn. Next notebook. Next notebook, please. Thank you.
Okay, so get this. We're diving into
someone
large language
appreciates
models.
fine
LLMs, yeah.
LLMs, exactly. But not just how they work, how we can get them to, you know, actually think better.
The holy grail. And you've sent us some seriously cool stuff to dig into.
Right. We've got actual code this time.
Yeah, from a project called Entropix, which is just wild.
Wild.
It
exactly.
is.
Plus, there's this whole research paper on something called chain of thought reasoning.
2 different angles for the same big question. Can we make AI smarter, more like how we reason?
So let's start with Entropix. Now, you gave us access to their code base, which, by the way, is not something you see every day.
Behind the scenes, a peek under the hood.
Exactly. So we won't bore everyone with every single line.
Please no.
But there are 2 key parts. One file called like sampler.py and then this .ipmb notebook thing.
The notebook, probably full of notes and experiments.
Probably. But that sampler, that's where I got kind of lost. It's just really lost.
Okay, so the sampler, it's using this idea of entropy.
Entropy, like in physics, with like disorder and stuff.
Kinda. But imagine you're trying to guess the next word in a sentence, right?
Okay,
Don't
yeah.
for a
High
second
entropy
think
means
you're better
tons
than
of
me.
possibilities. It's hard to
It's
answer.
always like the more random something is.
The higher the entropy.
Got it.
And Entropix, what it does, it uses this entropy, and actually something called rentropy too, to push the LLM down these less obvious paths.
Less obvious. You mean instead of just picking the most statistically likely word, it's
It's exploring, thinking outside the box.
so it's like instead of just going with the safe bet,
It's taking risks,
Have fun.
which
Don't
could
get
lead to
dead.
more creative output, new insights, who knows?
so it's not just about
Let's do
finding
it.
the right answer, it's about finding more interesting
I'll be
answers.
gone before you know
Okay,
it.
so if we go into the code itself, I mean, there's this model.py, stats.py, even kvcache.py, it's a lot.
Yeah, think of it like the engine room of the AI.
Lots of moving parts.
Exactly. And all those files, they're working together, storing how the LLM's memory is set up, updating it as it goes.
But with that extra entropic nudge, right, to make it think differently.
Precisely. And I gotta say, some of the math in there, yeah,
I saw that. It's just pages of equations.
but that's the magic, right? Those calculations. They're what's subtly influencing the LLM, making it think in this new way.
Yeah.
And, it makes you wonder, like, what if LLMs can reason even without us pushing them in this
Give me a
entropic
fucking noise.
direction?
Wait, hold on. Without all the fancy entropy stuff, you're saying they might have that potential already.
That's what this research paper is getting at, this whole chain of thought reasoning without prompting.
Okay, no prompting, got it. But chain of thought, like thinking things through, stuff like that.
Exactly. See, usually we try to make LLMs better by prompting, giving them specific instructions.
First do this, then consider that kind of thing.
But this paper, Wang and Zhu, they're saying, hey, what if these chains of thought are already in there? Maybe we're just not looking for them.
Hidden depths to these LLMs.
Like,
So how did they uncover these hidden thought processes?
they cooked up a new way to decode what the LLM spits out, or actually decoding, instead of just taking the most likely answer, statistically.
Right, because that doesn't always mean it's the smartest one.
Got him, coach.
They looked at all the paths the
sloppy
model
man.
might have considered, even the ones it didn't end up choosing.
So it's like exploring all the back roads the LLM thought about taking, even if it's stuck to the main highway in the end.
Perfect analogy. And get this, even when the LLM gets the answer wrong, sometimes the right reasoning process, it's right there in those alternative paths. Like it had a flash of brilliance but then doubted itself.
Wow, so it's not that they can't reason, it's that they're not always confident in the right line of reasoning.
Maybe. Still figuring this out. That's what makes this coding thing so cool. It's not prompting, it's more like listening in on the LLM's thought process in a new way.
Okay, but how do they pick out the right chain of thought from all those possibilities? I mean, it's not like the LLM is writing down step 1, step 2.
It's all about confidence there. See, the LLM assigns these probabilities to each word. It generates how confident it is in that choice.
Right.
So decoding, it analyzes those probabilities. It picks out the chain of thought the model was most certain about, even if it led to a wrong answer in the end.
So it's like the LLM is saying, out of all these ways to think about this path made the most sense to me, even if the final answer was wrong.
Exactly. And the kicker, no prompting needed, suggests that LLMs might be capable of way more than we give them credit for.
So, okay, let me get this straight. We've got these LLMs, right? And they might be capable of way more than we thought.
Potentially, yeah.
And now we've got this COTI decoding thing, which is like a way to listen in on their thought processes, see how they're actually reasoning, even if they get the final answer wrong.
It's a whole new way of thinking about AI, isn't it?
It is. It's like, maybe we've been going about this all wrong. Instead of trying to cram more and more information into these LLMs, maybe we need to figure out how to unlock the potential that's already there.
It's like we've been so focused on teaching them to climb a tree.
When they were born to swim.
Exactly. But, and this is important, we're not there yet. COTI decoding. It's still early days. There
Really
are
like calling it
limitations.
that.
Yeah, like what? What's holding it back?
Well,
Coming blue.
for one, it's computationally expensive. All that searching through different paths and analyzing probabilities, it's a lot of processing.
So not exactly something you can do on your average laptop.
Not yet. But hey, that's what progress looks like, right? Identifying the hurdles.
So what? We just need more powerful computers and we're good to go.
That's part of it. But there's also the challenge of refining the COTI decoding method itself, making it more efficient. Imagine if we could unlock those hidden chains of thought without needing massive server farms.
Then we do. But okay, so even if we get COTI decoding running smoothly, even if we can listen in on all those internal thought processes, what then? What's the end game?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, this research is hinting at a future where AI can reason more like humans do, but without needing explicit instructions for every little thing.
So instead of programming specific responses, we'd be able to have actual conversations with AI, where they understand the nuances, the context, the unsaid things.
Exactly. And here's the really mind-blowing part. The paper suggests that the key to even more sophisticated reasoning might lie in the data itself. The massive data sets these LLMs learn from, they might already contain the seeds of higher-level cognitive abilities, just waiting to be unlocked.
So it's not just about the algorithms, it's about understanding, maybe even shaping the very foundation of their knowledge.
Now you're getting it. Just scratch the surface here, This deep dive, it's just a starting point. There's so much more to explore, so many questions still unanswered.
And who knows what amazing discoveries are waiting to be made. That's the beauty of it, right? It's this big, exciting unknown.
Okay.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. Until next time,
I
keep your
guess.
brains buzzing.
I guess we just take it, right? I don't know. I thought that meant it was there. OT decoding, baby. Have you figured out the theme yet? Outside of my random Rust detour. The same theme it's always been, baby. Alright, can I just, like, take this fucking walker? That'd be fun.
Strike swiftly. Let's play.
Walker is under attack.
I'm coming green.
You sound kind of cute.
Okay, let's go.
They're gonna bleed. Disengaging. Toughening him up.
You gonna need the help, buddy. The fuck is going on here?
Let's go. Throw blades.
Got him, coach.
Took out another one. I see Ivy.
Slice of the dice. Sending arrows.
We need. Is return fire good still? Interesting. Do we have a 6K? I mean, I do need a. Let me get a soul shredder.
Brutal out there, huh?
I guess I'll get it. Fuck it, right? No, I won't. Just kidding. LOL.
Our
And then
purple
Vuln,
walker
probably.
is under
Right?
attack.
Don't mind the blood. It's
Seems
gently
good.
used.
Yeah. Okay, fuck. I need another flex.
They delivered the earth.
Little shits.
Our purple
Is everybody getting?
walker is under attack.
Okay, I gotta push this out a little bit. Nah. Can I like go up here?
Knife out.
Oh baby.
Bought that off a Knickerbocker that was about to get his legs broken.
Okay, how are we doing here? 13, 14, 14. Okay, we're not doing great, but...
Our walker is under attack. They've taken an objective.
What objective did they take? I missed it. Oh my god, I hate getting stuck here. Like, I get all confused. So annoying.
I see Ivy! They're gonna bleed. I'll be stacking bodies all night.
Nice try.
Amongst them, Shiv. And so, chaos.
I seen you. Where'd you go, you little shit?
Throw blades. No one stops me. Found. Contact.
Fuck. Thought I could scoot out of there. Oh well. TP? Eelbane is actually going to be really good. Actually really good. And then can I TP here? And I can get rid of presumably Spirit Strike, right? Melee damage and 12%. That is a bunch of fucking damage though. What else we got? We got a Headhunter? We can do a Headhunter, I think. We can do a point blank, that's what it is. That's what it is. Ah, shit. Forgot to turn the podcast back on, my bad. My bad.
Enemies have breached our stronghold. The spirit urn is waiting to be claimed. Walker is under attack. Don't for a second think you're better than me.
Don't do it. You get this fucking urn.
Our blue walker is under attack. I'll carve that. Let's play. That's how we get it done around here.
Oh, what? I was probably not watching my health again. And headhunter, probably. Sell. Oh, you sell Mystic Burst. Wild. For dash cooldown refund. What's this? Cooldown reduction. Okay. Sure, that's interesting. And then yeah, I need to tank up a little bit. Oh, is this critical? Left to right, sell. Oh shit, notebook. I have the chance. I can notebook
Okay,
that.
so we're diving into this Guttle agent paper today,
Enemies
and
have
wow,
reached
this
our
one is a mind bender. AI that
this is
can
gonna be yummy.
reprogram itself to get better at, well, anything. I mean, we're already seeing AI do some wild stuff, writing code, creating art, but this feels good.
Yeah, it really does.
Like, is this the breakthrough where it all changes?
It could be. See, right now, AI is really good at specific tasks, but it still needs us, humans, to give it direction. We tell it what to learn, how to learn it. If it makes a mistake, we got to step in and correct it. All that, it kind of puts the brakes on how quickly AI can act.
So it's like, we're the coaches, AI is the player, but it can only run the plays we draw up. You can't just call an audible on its own.
Exactly. But this Guttle agent, this is different. It's like giving the AI the playbook, letting it run the right way.
Oh, what? Why was my door not going off? What the fuck?
Okay, now that's where things get really interesting. So the paper, it mentions something called a Gödel machine.
Weird.
And
Okay.
what exactly is that?
Right, so that's the theory behind all this, the foundation.
Okay,
It's
I
a
don't
theoretical
have
computer
Oh,
program.
maybe.
and
Oh,
the
I
wild
see.
thing
Return
is it
fire.
can
It's
actually
for when you
rewrite
dive
its
in.
own
Okay,
code
okay. I'm
to
with
get
that.
better
I'm with
at
that.
solving problems. And this Gödel agent, it takes that concept, that Gödel machine, and says, okay, how do we apply this to AI?
So it's like the AI
I'm
is
with
doing
that,
its
I'm
own
with that.
coding upgrades on the fly while it's working.
In a way, yeah, you could say that. It is obviously much more complicated under the hood,
And
but the
TP
paper
will be
focuses
good
on a
here.
technique called monkey
Okay.
patching.
Okay.
Basically, it gives the AI a set of tools, and monkey patching lets it swap out those tools while it's working on a problem. Like, let's see if this wrench works better.
So it's not just learning as it goes, it's changing how it learns at the same time. That's wild. But okay, what kind of tasks were they
Oh my
actually
God, I don't have a
testing
zip.
this on?
They really threw it into the deep end, gave it some
Obnoxious.
serious challenges, not just simple stuff. We're talking reading comprehension, really advanced math problems, multi-step problem solving. They even had it tackling, get this, graduate level
Nice.
science questions.
Good dive.
Graduate
Solid.
level, like are we talking this thing passed a university exam?
Yeah, so they use something called the MGSM benchmark. Think of it like incredibly difficult math problems, like the kind designed to really push AI to its limits. And they also use the GPQA benchmark, which is basically a gauntlet of super tough science questions.
Okay, now I'm impressed. How did you get this?
Okay, so get on most of those tasks, mostly good agent, it matched or even straight up beats the state-of-the-art AI systems out there. And these are systems designed by teams of brilliant humans.
Wow.
But it gets even more interesting. You know those really hard math problems the MGSM benchmark?
Yeah.
It crushed it. Like absolutely blew the competition out of the water. We're talking something like 11% better than any other AI.
That's not just winning, that's dominating.
Right.
It
And
is.
it didn't even stop there. The
it's
Gödel agent
spirit
actually
armor.
learned how to use even more powerful AI models when it realized they were available. Like it started incorporating stuff like GPT-4o into its process.
Hold on, so it's not just doing the tasks, it's figuring out how to use better tools to do them even better. This AI is playing 4D chess while we're stuck with checkers.
True.
And that's what makes this so exciting. It's like this incredible resourcefulness,
It's seriously impressive, but it's not perfect, right? I mean, there had to be some bumps in the road, yeah?
Oh, you're absolutely right. It's not flawless. The paper, it acknowledges there's still limitations. Early days, after all. And like anything new, it has its share of hiccups.
So crashes, mistakes, what do we do?
Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing. It seems to learn from those mistakes. Just like we do. Like humans. It might trip up, but it usually figures out a way to recover. And the next time it hits a similar problem, it's less likely to make that same mistake. It will fall from
I'm already blowing my mind, we're just getting started, but how does this actually look in action? Like, what was one of the more interesting tests they did?
That was probably stupid.
So they had to play, get this, the game of 24. You know that one. where you've got 4 numbers, got to use basic math to make them equal 24.
Oh, yeah. I remember that game. Man, that could get tough.
Right. Well, it tripped up Guttle Agent a few times too.
Yeah.
But how it reacted,
Yeah, we need
that's what's
each.
really cool. In one test, it started off with this like really basic approach, just trying different combos of numbers and
So I'm gonna
operations.
keep running in like an
Very
idiot at
straightforward.
least.
But then it hits a wall, fails a few times, and what does it do?
It rage quit. Threw the digital whiteboard across the room.
Come on,
No.
Lash.
No,
You
it
can
does
do it.
something way more interesting. It essentially says,
Damn,
okay,
the
this
game's
isn't
caught up to
working,
me.
time
I
for a
was
whole new
crushing.
strategy. And it rewrites its own code.
Let me get
Hold on,
to
it rewrote its
pull
own
up.
code like on the spot.
Yeah, ditches the old approach, the one it started with, and programs itself to use a search algorithm instead. And this new approach,
I want to keep that
perfect score.
I like it.
It completely overhauled its own strategy mid-game and aced it. This is wild. See, this is what
What
gets
the
me. It's
fuck?
not just that this AI is good at math. It's that it knows when its methods aren't working and can think of new ones. That's, I don't even know. That's
hear
next
that?
level problem
These
solving.
fucking
right?
robots are
Like it
screeching,
has this
dude.
meta awareness,
get mid
knows how to
boss?
improve its own thinking,
Yes, sir.
and there's more. Another test, it
yeah,
figures
you
out
sound
it can
like a
use
faggot.
code to basically double check its answers, like
Report
actually
this
verify
bomb.
if it getting it right.
Okay, so it taught itself to check its work.
Exactly. I mean, we do that all the time, right? But to see AI figure that out on its own, it's kind of mind blowing.
So it's learning how to learn better, faster, more accurate. Man, this is incredible stuff, but where does this even go from here? If AI can design itself faster than we can, what does that even mean for the future? Well,
That's the $1,000,000 question,
yeah.
and it's one that's got a lot of researchers, well, a little bit nervous, to be honest.
Yeah, no kidding. It's like we're basically talking about AI taking the wheel on its own development at some point.
Yeah, and that's both incredibly exciting and a little bit scary. I mean, we're not saying AI is going to, take over the world tomorrow, but this research definitely underlines that we need to be thinking about safeguarding and now.
So like ethical guidelines for AI development, safety protocols,
No, we don't.
that kind
Fuck
of
that.
thing.
Exactly, like building those guardrails into the process from the ground up while the tech is still, in its infancy. It's a lot easier than trying to wrangle it in later on when it's, more powerful.
Right. Better safe than sorry, especially when we're talking about something this potentially transformative.
100%. And it's important to remember AI research, it's not just about building more powerful algorithms. It's about really understanding the implications of what we're building, making sure that we're developing this technology responsibly.
Absolutely. We're stepping into uncharted territory here. And we've got to be both, cautious and bold at the same time. It's a weird balance.
It really is.
Yeah.
But one thing's for sure, the future of AI is going to be anything before.
No kidding. Well, this Guttle Agent, it's definitely given us a lot to think about, that's for sure. A huge thank you to you, the listener, for sending this paper our way. It's been an incredible deep dive, and we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on all this? Does self-evolving AI get you fired up or a little bit freaked out? Head over to our website, hit us up on Twitter, leave a comment, let's keep this conversation going.
That was so bad. I should just turn. I'm an idiot. That was stupid. TP? Yeah. I think we can. I guess we can dump the melee at this point. Like, we don't need that shit. Not important. We do need leech though, really bad. Oh, and I can turn on the next podcast. Banger.
The world of mathematics might be on the verge of a revolution, and it all starts with a system called Ruby.
Right.
You've been diving deep into this.
I have.
And I have to admit, some of this research has me wondering if I could have passed high school math with the right AI tutor.
It's certainly pushing boundaries. What's fascinating here is the idea of an AI that doesn't just crunch numbers,
Right.
but can actually grasp the logic and reasoning behind mathematical proofs.
Right.
The why that often trips up even the most advanced AI systems.
Maybe I
Right,
turn
like
down
showing us the aha
sensitivity a little bit.
moments in those dense proofs we all struggled with.
Exactly.
So we're talking formal mathematics here.
Yes.
For those of us who haven't cracked open a textbook in a while, what makes this so different from the math we use every day?
Think of it this way. Everyday math is like sketching, it's flexible, Formal math is like architectural blueprints for computers. Every definition, every step has to be perfectly unambiguous. And that's where AI has historically struggled.
And this is where Lean Agent comes in. From what I gathered, this isn't just solving for X anymore.
Yeah, no.
This thing is proving theorems that have stumped actual mathematicians.
It's true. Even a top-performing AI system like Reprover, when tested on advanced math problems, basically drew a blank. It's like expecting someone to understand Shakespeare after teaching them the alphabet. Lean Agent is designed to bridge that gap.
Okay, so how do you do that? Is this about feeding it more data or something else?
It's about how it learns. The researchers call it lifelong learning. Most AI is trained on a fixed data set.
Right.
Lean Agent keeps learning and evolving, tackling increasingly complex math without forgetting what it's already mastered. Imagine if mastering a new skill actually made all your previous skills sharper.
Right.
That's the idea here.
So how does it actually do that? Walk me through it.
They use a two-pronged approach. First, it employs something called curriculum learning.
Oh.
Just as we learn algebra before calculus, Lean Agent uses a system to rank mathematical repositories by difficulty. It starts with the easier ones, builds up its knowledge, and then tackles the harder stuff. Gradual progression is key.
So it's pacing itself. But doesn't all that previous learning get overwritten as it goes?
That's where the second part comes in.
Okay.
Progressive training. With progressive training,
Okay.
every time Lean Agent masters a repository, that knowledge is integrated into its core understanding.
Okay.
It's constantly expanding its knowledge base without losing the progress it's already made.
So it's like building a mental map of mathematics.
Yeah.
Connecting all those complex concepts that it's memorizing.
A perfect analogy. And it's not just acing its homework, it's proving theorems that have stumped mathematics.
Right.
One example is the polynomial Freiman-Russo, or PFR, conjecture incredibly advanced stuff.
Okay, hold on. Before we go any further, can you give me a quick explanation of what that even is?
Sure. It's a problem in a branch of mathematics called additive combinatorics that deals with the structure of sets that add elements together. It's very intricate and involves things like subsets and how their sizes relate to the original sets. It's been a major open problem in mathematics for decades.
Okay, so back to Lean Agent. It cracked this PFR thing.
Well, it's more nuanced than that.
No.
While Lean Agent hasn't solved the entire conjecture, it did provide some significant insights that people use in the mathematician business.
Wow.
It's also proving theorems in areas like abstract algebra and topology.
Okay, remind me what those are again.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember diagramming these stuff as professors in college.
Essentially, abstract algebra uses mathematical structure in a very general way, like groups, rings.
I believe we're so
Topology,
close.
on the other hand, studies
Nice.
properties of
Well done.
spaces that are preserved under continuous transformations, like stretching or bending, but not tearing or gluing.
Right.
These are both fundamental to many areas of mathematics.
And Lean Agent is tackling these. This isn't just solving equations. It's almost like understanding the language of math in a deeper way.
That's the exciting part. This suggests that Lean Agent isn't just good at one specific
this
type
game
of math.
hurts my
It's
hands.
developing a more general
Switch games
understanding of mathematical
and I
reasoning
haven't had
across
chat
different
up because I'm a
fields.
big dummy.
So how does it actually do it?
That's
What do these
okay, there
proofs
was
even
no
look
chat.
like?
It's all
There's
good.
one case
Damn, bro,
where a
34
human-created
base.
proof was
I
175
swapped
lines long.
dark and darker. A little bit.
Wow.
Lean Agent did it in
Just a little
just
bit.
one.
Wow.
That's not just faster, it suggests a level of elegance and insight that's pretty remarkable.
That's remarkable. To condense a 175-line proof into a single line suggests a whole different level of mathematical understanding.
Right.
What can we infer from this kind of efficiency?
It could hint at a more fundamental grasp of the
I
underlying
can't play that game
mathematical
for too long because
principles.
it hurts
Right.
my
It's like
hands.
seeing the forest instead of just the individual
Too
trees.
dense, bro.
And this isn't just a one-off. It's consistently finding these elegant solutions.
There was another
Either that or
example
I'm just
from a
fucking old
repository
now,
called
one of the two.
Cillian focused on scientific computing. Lean Agent surprised everyone by proving theorems in areas it wasn't specifically trained
Proving
on.
theorems.
This demonstrates true generalization,
Right.
meaning it's not just memorizing, it's learning how to apply its knowledge in new and creative ways.
Okay, so we've established that Lean Agent is kind of a big deal.
It is.
But what does this all mean for the average
There we
person?
go.
Why should we care about AI proving
Why should we
theorems in fields most of us
Tell me.
barely even remember
Robots.
from college?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Why does any of this matter outside of academia?
Why does
Exactly.
anything
Give
matter?
it to me straight.
Okay. Imagine this AI as your personal math tutor, guiding you through complex problems step by step, explaining the logic in a way that even someone who isn't a math whiz can understand.
Okay, yeah, I can see the appeal in that. I certainly could have used a lean agent back in the day. But beyond education, are we talking about real-world applications here?
Absolutely. Think about the potential for scientific breakthroughs. What if AI could help us
Check that
formalize
here,
and
too.
prove complex theories in fields like physics, economics, even medicine? We could see advancements at a pace we never thought possible.
Okay, now we're talking about potentially world-changing stuff here.
Yeah.
But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, you mentioned something earlier about lean agent finding loopholes in mathematical logic.
Loopholes. I didn't
Yes.
hear about that.
The case of the 0-1 placeholder theorem.
Okay,
It highlights something quite profound about
Spell
mathematics
reflection. What the
itself.
fuck
lay
is
it on
that?
me.
Mathematics at its core is a system of logic, building arguments from foundational truths.
Right.
We call axioms. But what happens when one of those axioms is flawed
0.
even by accident?
Is that even
35 open.
possible
Okay, so
to break math like
gigantic
that?
nerve.
In the world of formal mathematics,
Yeah.
even a small error can cascade into bigger problems. It's like a domino effect
Right.
with that impossible 0-1 statement.
Right.
Lean Agent showed us
Right.
how the pursuit of logical conclusions can
Oh
lead
yeah,
to
arena's the
unexpected
thing. I
outcomes.
forgot.
So it wasn't breaking math, but rather revealing a kind
Yeah.
of hidden fragility in how we approach it.
AP
Precisely. It's a
system.
reminder that even in a field striving for
Whatever, dude.
absolute
It's fine.
truth,
It's,
Right.
there's always room for surprises.
Yeah, yeah,
And these unexpected discoveries can lead to entirely new ways of thinking.
Right.
It's not just about finding answers,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
about
religion's the
understanding the
thing now,
nature of
isn't
the questions themselves.
Freaking.
This is definitely
That
making me
sounds
think
cool,
about math
so-
differently. But before we get completely lost in the theoretical weeds,
Sure.
what about practical applications?
Yeah.
How far off are we from AI mathematicians solving real-world problems?
It's hard to put an exact
Let's see.
timeline on it,
Right.
but we are getting tantalizingly close.
Tantalizing.
One area where I expect major breakthroughs is optimization.
You gotta do it.
Finding the
You gotta level the
absolute
bar,
best
dude.
solution
You gotta
from a
level
set of
that bar.
possibilities.
Right.
This has applications in everything from logistics and transportation to finance and
Hot minute,
healthcare.
but-
So AI could help us design more efficient systems. Like instead of just crunching numbers,
Yes,
it could help us understand the best way to actually organize things.
exactly. Since AI isn't limited by the same biases as humans, it might even find solutions we would never consider.
Right.
Imagine what that could mean for things like city planning,
Right.
resource
What could it
management,
be?
Wow.
even something like
Wow.
developing new medical treatments.
Okay, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
That's required.
Any other fields where you see this having a big impact?
Cryptography is another big one.
Okay.
With our increasing
do tell.
reliance on digital communication, the need for strong encryption methods is only growing. AI mathematicians could help us design far more secure systems.
So we're talking about staying ahead of hackers and cyber criminals.
Exactly. AI could be crucial in developing encryption algorithms that are practically unbreakable.
That's something I think we can all get behind.
Yeah.
This all leads to a bigger point, doesn't it?
It does.
It's not just about solving problems, but also understanding the very
Yeah, it's
nature
none of
of
these are any good.
knowledge.
Right.
If AI can understand math,
Yeah.
even surpassing human capabilities in
math.
some
Yeah.
ways,
Get
what
it.
does that say about knowledge itself?
That's a question philosophers have been wrestling with for centuries, but AI brings a new urgency to it.
Right.
If we
do
are no
like
longer the
that,
sole
man.
masters of abstract thought,
Right.
what does that mean for us?
What does
It's
it
a
mean?
bit humbling, isn't it?
For
It
us.
is.
To think that we might not be at the top of the intellectual food chain anymore?
Allegro.
Perhaps. But it's also an opportunity.
Okay.
The development of AI
What's the two?
mathematicians allows us to ask profound questions about ourselves and the world around us. It forces us to re-examine our place in the grand scheme of things.
And maybe, just
I think
maybe,
actually I'm
it will
okay
lead to
with that.
collaborations that push the boundaries of
This-
human understanding even further than we could have imagined. Speaking of collaboration, you mentioned earlier that Lean Agent might need more training data to reach its full potential.
It might.
Where would that even come from?
That's a challenge researchers are actively working on.
Right.
Formal mathematics, while
Oh, so
growing, is
Right.
still a
They put new
relatively
thing in
niche
here,
field.
didn't they?
We don't have the same volume
Oh
of
my God,
data
so have to-
as, say, natural language processing, where
Hell yeah,
models are
thanks.
trained on massive amounts of text.
So how do you teach an AI about advanced mathematics if there just aren't enough digital textbooks to go around?
One exciting avenue is using AI to generate more training data.
Really?
There's a lot of buzz around a technique called reinforcement learning,
Right.
where
And
an
those two things
AI
have nothing to
learns
do with
through
each
trial
other.
and error,
Okay.
much like training a dog with treats.
So we could have AI mathematicians teaching other AI mathematicians.
Yes.
That's wild.
Why did
It
we bring
is.
up
It's like
synthetic
giving
data
these
there?
AI mathematicians
Yeah, maybe
access
I
to a
misheard.
constantly
The robots
expanding
must know.
library of knowledge
Wow.
built by themselves.
Right.
Still early days, but this kind
I
of
keep, like, hearing these
AI-assisted
other
data
voices in here,
generation
though. Are you
could
guys catching
unlock
that? I
even
don't know.
greater potential in Lean Agent and other similar systems.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. It's
We
clear
have.
that we're on the brink
It's
of
been
something
intense, dude.
remarkable, but there's a part of me that still wonders,
Yeah.
what does this mean for the
What does it
future of
mean?
human
What could it
mathematicians?
mean?
It's a question many are asking. Some
Oh,
believe
fuck, I
AI
hope I
will
have my
fundamentally change how we do
instruments.
mathematics. They argue human
Okay, I
intuition
do.
will become less important as AI takes over the more technical aspects. Others see it as a powerful partnership.
A partnership, in what sense?
Imagine AI handling complex calculations and proof checking, freeing up human mathematicians to focus on the bigger picture, the why behind the math, the truly creative leaps.
Yeah,
It could lead to breakthroughs neither
hot
AI nor
minute
humans could
since,
achieve alone.
that's a more optimistic
Yeah, I
outlook.
got
It
those,
is.
yeah.
But if AI can already outperform
Ooh,
us
this is
in some
like
areas of
something that's,
math,
like unplayable.
is there a guarantee it won't eventually surpass us in all areas?
It's a question worth considering. However, remember the difference between formal and informal
Valuable.
mathematics. Humans excel at moving between the two,
Right,
using intuition to generate ideas and then formalizing them rigorously.
right.
That spark of creative insight, the
Yeah.
ability to see connections where others
Oh, yeah,
see
this
only
is bad, dude.
chaos.
Right.
That's something we still excel at least for now.
So there's hope for us yet.
There is.
But for those of us who don't live and breathe mathematics,
Right.
what's the key takeaway?
Oh, and I don't.
We are on the
Fuck.
cusp of a new era
really
in
annoying.
mathematics. Rather than fearing
Is that
this
good
change,
stuff?
Yeah.
we should embrace the incredible possibilities it offers. AI has the potential to accelerate
chilling.
scientific
Just gonna
discovery,
chill here real
solve
quick.
some of the world's most pressing problems,
Right.
and even unlock new secrets of the universe itself.
That's a future I can get behind.
Yeah.
But before we get too carried away with these grand visions,
Okay.
I want to come back to something you mentioned earlier.
Sure.
Lean Agent's ability to find loopholes in mathematical logic.
Ah, yes. The case of the 0-1 placeholder theorem.
Right.
You know, that example highlights something truly profound about the nature of mathematics itself.
Do tell.
Mathematics at its core is about logic. It's about constructing arguments,
Right.
step by logical step, from a set of axioms, those fundamental truths that we take for granted, like parallel lines never meeting, or the idea that a whole is always greater than the sum of its parts.
Okay, I follow you so far. What happens when those axioms, those
my God.
bedrock truths, turn out to be
Rip.
flawed? Or what if we accidentally introduce a contradiction,
That's,
Right.
we haven't,
even with the best intentions?
played in a little bit.
That's
We
exactly
almost
what's so
got it, though.
fascinating. In the realm of formal mathematics, even a tiny error,
Right.
a
Can
single
we-
misplaced symbol,
Right.
can have massive consequences.
So lowest
It's like pulling
please.
a loose thread and watching the entire
No,
sweater
no
unravel.
cross simulation.
So Lean Agent, by exploiting that impossible 0-1 statement,
Yes,
was essentially showing us just how fragile the whole system can be.
precisely.
I
It's a
just get it.
potent reminder that even in mathematics,
Right.
a field often viewed as the epitome of
Cross now, I
certainty
hate
and
that
absolute
shit.
truth,
Right.
Wait 2
there's
minutes.
always the potential for unexpected outcomes.
And maybe
Oh, you
even a
need me
bit of
20?
chaos.
Perhaps.
Annoying.
Yeah.
But what's truly remarkable is that sometimes those chaotic moments,
Yeah.
those detours into the unexpected, can
let's
lead to the
organize
most
this a little
profound
bit.
discoveries.
So it's not just about AI finding the right answers, it's about potentially changing the way we ask the questions in the first place.
Now you're getting it. This is what makes research like Lean Agent so compelling.
Right.
It's not just about building a better calculator. It's about delving into the very essence of
Delving.
mathematical
They're
reasoning.
delving,
It's
bros.
about understanding what it truly means to know something,
Right.
especially in a field as complex as mathematics.
This has given me a lot to think about.
Mm-hmm.
What's next for Lean Agent?
Okay.
What does the next chapter in
That'll
the story
do
of
it.
AI and mathematics look like?
That's the exciting part. We're just scratching the surface of what's possible.
Right.
One thing is for certain, it's going to be a fascinating journey.
Right.
We're witnessing a paradigm shift
fascinating
in how we
journey,
approach
dudes.
knowledge and discovery.
I'm definitely eager to see where this all leads. But in the meantime,
Yeah.
I think we've given our listeners plenty to chew on
Yes,
today.
you have, but there's still like
This
6
is
more
some
minutes of
serious food
this.
for thought.
It is.
And I have a feeling we'll be revisiting this topic
Kind of
again
intense,
soon.
bro.
I agree. It's an ongoing exploration,
gonna lie.
and new discoveries are always on the horizon.
Speaking of new discoveries,
Yes.
before we wrap up, I want to touch on something we haven't really discussed yet. The resources required to develop something as advanced as Lean Agent.
I have to change the title.
We're talking about
There we go.
cutting-edge computing
They're not
power,
playing
Yes.
the hot new game
vast
anymore.
data sets,
The
teams
hot
of
new
brilliant
game on the
minds.
block. Because I have
Who's
old
funding
man
all of
wrists.
this? And what are their motivations?
That's a crucial question.
Peace.
Right.
And it
Peace
brings up
rotate.
important
want
considerations
Frost
about the
Mountain.
forces
I don't
driving
want-
research in
Thank
this
you.
field.
Because right now, it's not just about
Thank you.
scientific
Oh, no, no,
curiosity.
no,
is
no,
it?
no,
Yeah.
no, no, no.
There are
No.
commercial and strategic
Good
interests at
point.
play as well.
Absolutely.
done
A lot of the
this
funding
earlier.
for AI research,
Uh-huh.
especially areas like formal mathematics,
Right.
comes from large tech companies and well-funded
fuck.
universities.
This
So
is
there's a
gonna be
lot at stake here.
There is.
The potential applications of AI in fields like optimization and
Then you
cryptography
did
are
do it
incredibly valuable.
twice.
Whoever controls this technology could have a
I'm gonna have to
significant
bring
advantage.
these.
That's precisely why it's so important to consider the ethical
Very annoying.
implications of this research
Anything
Right.
decent here?
alongside the scientific ones.
It's a reminder that
Little something,
advancements in AI aren't happening in a vacuum.
Right.
They're directly tied to broader societal
fuck it.
forces and economic interests.
Right.
And as we've seen, these advancements
do
have
wish I had,
the potential to reshape our world
Yeah,
in
that slots
profound
thing
ways.
is really
It's a
tough
powerful reminder that
regards.
we are not just passive observers
normally you
in
can
this
put
technological
Band-Aids
revolution.
Right.
in there. Too.
We have a responsibility to engage with these developments thoughtfully
I have
and
Wes
critically.
Ewing.
Okay, you've definitely given me a lot more to consider. But before we get too far down that road,
Yeah.
I want to circle back to Lean Agent and its accomplishments one last time.
Okay.
We've talked about its ability to
I wonder
find
if I can
elegant
crank
proofs
up
Yes.
my
And
and
shit
even
here.
uncover potential
Ryzen Master,
loopholes
where you
in
at?
logical arguments.
Right.
What's the most significant takeaway from this research, in your opinion?
For me, it's the reminder that even in a
Precision
field like
boost
mathematics, which
overdrive?
we
Let's
often
do it.
view
That
as
sounds
rigid and
cool.
absolute,
Right.
Okay.
there's always room for surprise.
Shit's being
The
weird.
fact that an AI system can find novel solutions
Yeah.
and even expose hidden complexities within formal systems speaks to the ever-evolving nature of knowledge itself.
Yeah.
Humbling and exciting realization.
It certainly is. It makes you wonder what other hidden truths are waiting to be uncovered,
Right.
both in mathematics and beyond.
Yeah.
But we'll have to save that extra.
I hate spiders.
Indeed. There's always more to discover.
It really makes you appreciate the dynamic nature
Yeah, I
of
wonder if
discovery,
this is like
even
no,
in a
this is
field
definitely
like
frame rate.
mathematics.
Am I
It
trying to figure
certainly
out if it's
does,
mouse or
and it
something
highlights
weird?
the importance of staying curious and open to new possibilities.
Speaking of new possibilities, we've talked about the potential benefits and
I
even some of the
hate spiders.
philosophical implications of AI mathematicians. But what about the risks? Are there any potential downsides?
Hello, sir. Excuse me.
That's a crucial question and one we should never shy away from. Like any powerful tool, AI has the potential for both good and harm. It's our responsibility to guide its development and ensure its use responsibly.
So where do we even begin? What are some concrete steps we can take to ensure that AI, especially in a field as impactful as mathematics, is used ethically and for the greater good?
It starts with awareness and engagement.
Oh my god, that's gonna.
We need to
troll
educate
me. I
ourselves
really
about
need to put them
AI,
back
its
the way
capabilities,
that
and
they
its
were before.
limitations.
Right.
The more we understand this technology,
Excuse
the
me.
better equipped
Excuse me.
we'll be to
Thank
ask
you.
the right questions and advocate for responsible development.
So it's not just about the mathematicians and computer scientists.
God,
anymore.
yeah.
It's about
This-
all of
I
us
must have
taking an
myself
active
fucked up.
role in shaping how this technology is used.
Exactly. We can't just sit back and let AI happen to
Actually,
us.
I
We
kinda
need to be
feel this
active
spot,
participants
too.
in the conversation, shaping its trajectory and ensuring it aligns with our values.
Makes sense. But it can feel daunting, especially with something as complex as AI. Where do we even
Damn,
start?
that's just so much
One
fucking
simple step
damage.
is to
It's
stay
crazy.
informed.
Okay.
Read
to-
articles,
used to having
listen to
to hit that, like,
podcasts like
6
this
times.
one, engage in
Okay,
conversations.
champ in there.
The more we talk about AI, the less
Spooky.
mystified and more empowered we become.
Knowledge is power, as they say.
Can I have a Band-Aid, please?
We can also
whatever.
support organizations and initiatives that are working to ensure the ethical development and use of AI. There are groups out there advocating for transparency, accountability, and fairness
Why did they
in
start
AI,
talking about
and they
alignment,
rely on
dude?
public support.
Fucking weird.
So we can vote with our wallets and our voices to support ethical AI development.
Precisely. And don't
just wanna get
underestimate the
ethical,
power of
bro.
simply asking questions. If you're curious about how an AI system is being used or developed, don't be afraid to reach out to the developers, researchers, or even your elected officials.
Oh, I
So
heard a ranger.
curiosity and a healthy dose of skepticism are good things.
Absolutely. We should approach AI with a critical yet open mind, embracing its potential while also acknowledging the need
I
for
heard a
careful
ranger.
consideration and ongoing dialogue.
This has been an incredibly insightful conversation, and I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about. But before we wrap up, I want to circle back to one final, slightly philosophical question.
Sure.
We've been talking about AI's ability to understand mathematics.
Isn't it?
But does that mean AI can truly understand the world in the same way that humans do?
That's a question that will likely be debated for generations to come.
Right.
But it's an essential question nonetheless, pushing us to examine the very nature of understanding itself.
Because even with all its computational power, can AI ever truly grasp the nuances, the emotions, the subjective
see you.
experiences that shape our human understanding of the world?
That's the heart of the matter, isn't it? AI might excel at logic and pattern recognition, but can it ever truly replicate the empathy, the
Actually, this is gonna
intuition,
fuck
the
me 'cause I'm
sheer
glowing.
creativity that colors the human experience?
It's a humbling thought, reminding us that even in an age of increasingly sophisticated machines, there are still aspects of the human experience that remain uniquely ours.
And that, I believe, is something worth cherishing.
On that note, I think we'll wrap
Fucking
up
dude.
this deep dive into
Cheers.
the world of AI and mathematics. We've covered a lot of ground today,
Nope.
from the
I'm not
technical
chasing that.
details of
Fuck
Lean
you.
Agent to the profound philosophical questions it raises.
It's been a
Bullshit.
pleasure exploring these fascinating topics with you.
To our listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope you've come away with a deeper
Fucking
understanding
Rangers. They
of
have,
the incredible
for
potential
those who
of
are
AI,
not giant
as
nerds,
well as
they
a
have-
healthy
oh,
dose
fuck.
of curiosity, and perhaps even a little bit of wonder.
Don't kill me.
Keep asking questions,
Oh, can I
stay
run up there,
engaged,
maybe?
and never stop exploring the boundaries of what's possible.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
I didn't realize. I didn't even know that was a ladder. I didn't know we had that. Keep diving deep, bros. Fuck it. I didn't bring anything with me. It doesn't matter. Woohoo! Little shit. Really? I guess I changed that too, huh? Have a little sit, a little nap. Ryzen Master, what the fuck happened, dude? Did you explode? It's fine. Don't report it to Microsoft. I'm not used to this OS. To Chad. They're near Windows. Oh, I hear somebody, I think. And okay, yeah, this is like my frame rate's too bad to even play, unfortunately. I have to go back to the yum. Yoink. Oh shit. Oh my god, I kill this shit so fast. It's crazy. Crazy. I'm gonna get rid of this too. See, now I'm getting my fingers all like they're getting used to it, so which means when I switch back, it's gonna fuck me up. Oh, I can use invis spots? Weird. This one over here too in there. Bloop, bloop. Did not know. Guess I should take those. This feels like I need money. I'm broke. I hear you. Fuck. fucking goblins, dude. Ah, fuck. Can't 1v1 them rogues, dude. How did that fucking goblin get through the door? Let's see. How'd we do? And nah, we did trash. What do you got? You got anything? Well, you are level 20. That's fine. Okay, fuck it. I'm gonna do one more, even though this is relatively unplayable. Let's see, what notebook are we at? You're at this notebook.
Ever get the feeling that even emojis have levels? Like there's more to them than meets the eye.
Yes.
Interesting thought.
Well, get ready to
Yeah,
unlock
some
a few
fucking
because today we're
freaks.
diving deep into a GitHub discussion about a project called Meta Introspector.
Oh,
This
shit.
one. Yeah, I've seen this. It's
You, our
This is-
listener, sent this in.
This is
and
a
from what I
banger.
can tell, it
Absolutely.
involves AI, creative coding, and a whole lot of emojis used in a way I've never seen before,
it's definitely unique.
to say the least.
Yeah, this is
So for
this
those
is
of
the
us who
homie
haven't
Mike.
stumbled upon Meta
He is a,
Introspector in the depths of GitHub, what's the deal?
Well, on the
Well,
surface,
I'll
it looks
let
like
them
any
t-
other
I'll let them
project,
talk
you
about
know, code, comments, the usual. But then you get to these posts by the creator, J. Mike DuPont, too, and things get a little, shall we say, interesting.
Hell yeah, I
Interesting.
love it.
Give us the details.
It's the emojis, right? Like, we're all used to emojis, but J. Mike DuPont, too, they're using them almost like, I don't know, a secret code or something.
Okay, I need an example. What kind of
Yes, you
secret
do.
emoji code are we talking about?
Imagine, like, long strings of emojis. Not just a smiley face here or a thumbs up there. I'm talking
Yes.
sequences.
Sequences like.
Okay, picture this. A robot, then a wrench, a reverse arrow, then back to a
I wonder
wrench,
if they
then a
freak
world
out
map,
because of
a
this.
computer
Oh
disk, and a
man,
bar graph.
this will be fun.
All in a row.
And that's just one line of code in this emoji language.
Pretty much. J. Mike DuPont 2 calls these tapestries.
Tapestries. Okay, I kind of love it.
And then get this, some
Same.
sections have labels like abstraction or analysis attached to them.
So there's structure to it. This isn't just someone randomly posting their favorite emojis because they're bored.
Definitely not random. There's a method to the madness, trust me. It's like they're creating a whole
Absolutely.
system of meaning making, but with emojis instead of your usual programming syntax.
Okay, now my mind is officially blown, but also a little confused. Is this a common thing in the coding world, using emojis like this?
No,
It's definitely not your everyday coding practice. I mean, most programmers stick to good old-fashioned text. But there's this growing
I wonder if
movement
they
within
get it.
creative coding and AI. You know,
Is
people are
there?
experimenting with different ways to represent complex ideas, make technology more intuitive, and J. Mike
I wonder if
DuPont
it's
too.
playing a bard.
They seem to be
that's
right there
doing
on
it,
the
'cause there's
cutting
so
edge
many
of that
floaties.
movement.
Yes.
So there are
yes,
these
yes.
tapestries of emojis. What exactly are they trying to do with them? Is it functional or more of an art project?
It's interesting you say that because it's kind of both.
Good question.
Artistic, definitely. But there's also a clear attempt to build a functional system.
A functional system that uses emojis. How does that even work?
What's
Well,
up, buddy?
J. Mike DuPont 2 refers to something called
Fucking
rewrite
banger.
rules. Think of them as instructions for how the system should operate. But here's the kicker. They've given these rules names like abstraction, Athena, and analysis, Calliope.
Hold on. Athena and Calliope, like the Greek muses?
Exactly.
What do Greek muses have to do with coding?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
What
it's
the
like
fuck?
J. Mike DuPont 2 is building
He was
a whole
fucking. He
mythology
stabbed me
around
while
their
he was turned
project,
around.
drawing
Okay, I'm assuming he had
inspiration
gear
from
on.
these
Let's
ancient
see.
figures who represent
yeah,
different
definitely.
aspects of art and knowledge. They even
Wow,
mention a
not
golem
much,
at one
though.
point.
Hold up, golems. Like those mythical
Wild.
beings
Okay.
made of clay.
Yeah,
that
I
are
don't
brought
think this
to
is gonna
life. What
happen.
do those
Maybe
have
we'll
to do
try
with
it with like
coding?
fighter or
Right.
something because there's not
It's
as
wild.
much
It
shiny
seems like
shit.
J. Mike DuPont
but-
2 is using Golem as a metaphor for this complex AI system they're building, but within something
Or we
called a
just wizarded it
metacock
up, dude.
representation.
Just
Okay,
wizard
I'm
it.
officially lost.
Sounds fun.
Meta what now?
Sorry,
Meta
jargon
what now?
overload. Metacock is a programming language, but not your average JavaScript or Python.
They
How so?
pronounce
It's known for
pronounced
being
it correctly.
super
I love it.
rigorous, logically sound. Like if you build something in Metacock, you know it's going to be rock solid, no loose ends. So when J. Mike DuPont 2 talks about a muse-driven golem in this context, it's like they're not just messing around. They're aiming for something really sophisticated and powerful.
So they've got these tapestries of emojis,
the correct one is
references to
sage, I
Greek
think.
muses, and now a
Mm,
golem
slow.
made of code running around in Metacock.
Or
This is
staff,
already more
actually.
creative than my
Yeah,
last coding
staff.
project.
Yeah.
But
And then
how
I
does it all
should
actually work?
this
What do these
so I can
emojis do?
farm,
Well, it's all about
maybe.
layers, right? You've got the emojis
And then why
themselves,
did I
which are
have it
like the
set up
visual
like
building
this?
blocks, but then you've got these rewrite rules that
Hmm.
act on those emojis, transforming them, combining them, making them do things.
It's like those Russian nesting dolls, but instead of dolls, it's emojis. And instead of nesting, it's code. And instead of Russia, it's column. Oh, you get the idea.
I do, actually, and it's a good analogy.
So we've got the emojis, the rules, the muses, the
So
golem.
we don't
Yeah.
actually need
How
that
does
because
J.
we're
Mike Dupont
bringing-
2 actually put all of this together?
That's where
I
it gets
gotcha.
even more interesting. They've actually created a diagram using more
Hell yes, he
emojis
has.
naturally to
I love it.
illustrate how a conversation between an engineer and a chatbot could work within their system.
Okay, now this is
Okay,
getting
and then if
meta.
I'm
Right, like
solo,
they're
I
using
have to bring
emojis
light
to
order, but I'm
represent
not
a
going
conversation
to,
about
'cause
how
fuck
you
it,
use emojis to
because
build an AI. Mind-bending stuff.
And then what?
mind-bending.
How do they get from this emoji
Alright, let me
conversation
see if this
to
is
actual
actually playable.
yeah, functionality?
Let's
Well,
see.
they break down processes like abstraction, analysis, and collaboration, all using, you guessed it, more emojis.
They must have
Damn,
a
I've
favorite
acquired
emoji.
53
Right, at
whole
this point, I'm
eyeballs,
half
bro.
expecting them to release a whole emoji-based
There's probably like 2 of them
dictionary.
still
The
actually
J.
watching
Mike
it
Dupont
too.
2 emoji
Gangsta shit.
encyclopedia of coding.
I'd buy that.
Hell
But
yeah.
seriously, what's fascinating is that they're not just
Yeah,
trying
dude,
to
go
create a
check
new
out,
programming language
Time.
here. It's like
It's
they're
one of his
trying to
repos.
visualize how a system of thought
It's
works, how
very
we take in
interesting.
information, break it down, and then use it to create something new.
It's almost philosophical.
It is, and it
I
makes you
really
wonder
like
if
how
we've
they're
been
summarizing it
approaching
though, because
coding all wrong.
it's completely
What if,
impenetrable
instead
unless
of
you have
lines of
something
text,
like
we
this
could build
to
software
sort of
using visual
tell you what the deal
metaphors and
is.
symbols like emojis? Could that make technology more accessible, more intuitive, even more fun?
I mean, I'm not going to lie, I'd much rather write code with a smiley face than a semicolon.
Right. And think about the possibilities for education. Imagine teaching kids to code using emojis. It could revolutionize how we introduce young
It's
people to
kind of
computer
that.
science.
That's like kind of
Okay,
the thing.
I'm sold on the emoji revolution. But let's get back to
So
G. Mike
maybe-
Dupont 2's project. How far along are they with that? Is this emoji code actually working?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. And the thread only gives us glimpses into their progress. But one thing's for sure, notebooklm is constantly iterating, refining their system, responding to feedback from other developers.
Which is key to
Is
any
he?
kind of innovation. That back and forth, that willingness to experiment and learn from mistakes.
Absolutely. And
Oh
what's
my God, I
remarkable
fucking
here
hate
is that they're
the
not just
density
building
here.
a system, they're essentially creating
Oh my
a
God.
new language together, one that's visual, symbolic, and deeply intertwined with human thought processes.
It's like they're hacking into the very essence of how we
Hacking the
communicate
mainframe.
meaning.
True.
Exactly, and that's what makes this project so fascinating, even if it
It's
ultimately
a
doesn't
little-
result in a
little
fully
better.
functional,
And we'll
emoji-based
see if somebody
operating
actually runs
system.
up on me. Oh,
It
actually,
challenges
no,
us
that's
to
probably
think
not.
differently about the
I mean,
tools we
maybe.
use, the
Yeah,
languages
that's
we
good.
create, and the very nature of human-computer interaction.
It's like they're saying, what if we could program with our imaginations instead of just our keyboards?
True.
I love that, and it's a powerful idea, even if it's still in its J. Mike Dupont 2 might be onto something truly groundbreaking
True.
here.
True.
So we've got this ambitious project, a whole new way. But what about the practical side of things? How do you even begin to translate these
Shit.
abstract concepts into something
All right, let me
tangible,
blast
something
one
that
more,
actually works in the
probably,
real world?
So I can,
That's the million-dollar
Efficiency.
question, and unfortunately,
Efficiency
the GitHub
maxing.
thread doesn't offer any details.
if I've learned
But it does
anything
give us
from
some
my
clues. In one
adventures.
post, Microsoft is talking about the need for a clearly defined architecture.
Architecture, like blueprints for a building.
Exactly. They're talking about the
Okay, and I should
underlying
ready
structure
now
of their
instead of
system,
opening this
the
first like an
rules and
idiot.
relationships that govern how all the different parts interact.
So it's not just about randomly stringing emojis together. There's a method to the madness.
True.
Definitely. They're trying to create a system
The other
that's
person
both
to look into this
expressive
with
and
is
robust.
probably Stun
One that can
Spot.
handle
You can Google
complexity
that and
without
it'll pop up.
collapsing
It's
under
not,
its
I don't think it's
own
on
weight.
GitHub or anything.
It sounds like they're walking a tightrope between creativity
It's fine.
and chaos.
Everything is fine.
And that's where things get really interesting because
Chillax,
J. Mike
Sammy.
Dupont 2 also talks about something called auto-poetic rewrite.
Okay, now you're just using big words to sound smart.
Sorry, but it's a cool concept, I promise.
Mhm.
Autopoietic rewrite essentially means that the system can modify its own code based on feedback and interaction. It's like giving the system the ability to learn and adapt on its own.
Now, I'm all for AI that can learn and adapt, but the idea of code rewriting itself sounds a little unnerving, like something out of a sci-fi movie where the robots take over.
Right, like who's in control here? It's a valid concern, and it's one that J. Mike Dupont 2 addresses. They argue that autopoietic rewrite isn't about creating a runaway AI that takes over the world, but rather a system that can refine and improve itself over time.
So think that less determinism, more self-optimizing smartphone app.
Exactly. It's about giving the system the ability to learn from its mistakes, become more efficient and adaptable as encounters
But it still raises questions about control and intention, doesn't it? If the system is constantly rewriting its own rules, how can we ensure that it remains aligned with our goals and values? How do we prevent it from going off the rails?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's one that philosophers and computer scientists are grappling with right now. How do we design AI systems that are not only intelligent, but also
Good fight,
ethical,
though. Good fight.
responsible, and
How'd we do?
aligned with human values?
How do we
It's
do?
a heavy question.
Do we
to
almost
ponder,
have him?
especially
Oh, no,
when
we
we're
didn't have
talking
him.
about
Oh,
something
Jesus.
as seemingly simple
What
as
do you got?
emojis. But that's the beauty of J. Mike DuPont 2's project, isn't it? It takes
You got some
something
gas,
familiar and
but
playful,
that's probably just
and
mostly
uses
me
it to
missing.
explore profound
I should have hit him with
questions about
slow.
the
What am I
nature of
doing?
language, creativity,
Fucking
and even
dumb-dumb.
consciousness.
Precisely. And it reminds us that technological innovation isn't just about creating new gadgets or writing more efficient code. It's about expanding our understanding of ourselves and our place in the world.
True.
Speaking of expanding our understanding, things take an interesting turn in the GitHub thread when J. Mike DuPont 2 starts translating passages from the Tao Te Ching into emojis.
Wait,
Hell
what?
yes.
Tao Te Ching.
That's my
as
boy.
In the ancient Chinese text on philosophy. and
That's my boy
spirituality.
right
One and
there.
only. I'll admit, I was not expecting that plot twist. It's like we went from emojis to AI to Greek muses to now
Abso-fucking-lutely.
ancient Chinese philosophy. What's next?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Right. It's like this project is a crash course in, well, everything.
I'll go look
but
at that
as
repo,
strange
I
as
think.
it sounds,
Or
there's
go-
certain logic to
we'll
it.
scroll through it and see
The
what's
Tao
up.
Te Ching, with its emphasis on balance, harmony, and the interconnectedness of all things, seems to resonate with the underlying philosophy of J. Mike DuPont 2's project.
True.
So it's not just a random choice.
Nope.
They're trying to
Never
connect
is.
their work
Never.
to this ancient wisdom.
the
this
metacock is
exploration of the
actually,
fundamental principles that govern
It's
the
not a
universe.
technically
Exactly.
not a programming
And
language. I
those
don't
emoji
think.
translations,
But cock
they're not
is or
just a gimmick.
COQ.
There's real
It's like a
depth
proofing.
there
It's kind of
and
like Liam,
understanding of
basically.
the philosophical
Except I don't know,
concepts being
different.
conveyed.
It's like they're
TLDR
saying,
math and shit.
hey, what if we could represent the very essence of the Tao, not through words, but through these little digital symbols that become so integral to our modern lives?
And in doing so, they're pushing the boundaries of what we consider language, challenging us to think about how meaning is created and shared, not just through words, but through symbols, images, and even emotions.
This whole project is one giant mind of technology, philosophy, linguistics, even art. It's like we've stumbled into a digital renaissance where all these different disciplines are converging and sparking new ideas.
And that's often where the most exciting breakthroughs happen, at the intersection of seemingly disparate fields. When you bring together people with different perspectives and ways of knowing, you create the conditions for truly novel solutions
I hear somebody
to
again, I
emerge.
think. Fuck
It's like
me.
J. Mike DuPont 2 is saying that the language we use to think about the world can be just as important as the world itself.
It's a reminder
probably
that
just a little
innovation
bit
often
better,
requires
these
us to
guys.
challenge our assumptions about how things should be done, what tools we should use, even how we define problems in the first place.
Oh, hi.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. Emojis
Somebody.
as code, Greek muses, the Tao Te Ching. It's a lot to wrap our heads around. But before we get too lost in the weeds, let's bring it back to you, our listener.
Yes, let's connect this back to the real world. Because while J. Mike DuPont 2's project might seem incredibly abstract, it raises some important questions about the future of technology and how we interact with it.
Like for instance, will we all be coding with emojis someday? I mean, it sounds cool, but is it actually practical?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the answer, as with most things in tech, is it depends.
On what?
Well, for starters, there's the question of scale emojis. While expressive are fine, there are only so many of them, and they lack the precision and flexibility of traditional programming.
So you're saying we probably won't be seeing an emoji version of the Mars rover's operating system anytime soon?
Probably not. But that doesn't mean J. Mike DuPont 2's experiment isn't valuable. Sometimes when groundbreaking innovations come from exploring unconventional paths, even if those paths don't always lead to practical applications right away.
It's about pushing the boundaries, seeing what's possible, even if it means venturing into uncharted territory.
Exactly. And who knows? What seems outlandish today might become commonplace tomorrow. Remember when touchscreens were a novelty? Or when the idea of carrying a computer in your pocket was
Okay, that's a good point. So let's say hypothetically that J. Mike DuPont 2 does manage to overcome these challenges and creates a robust functional system based on their emoji code.
We out, G.
What are some real-world applications
Looking
you
outta
could
here.
envision?
The possibilities are intriguing, to say the least. Imagine educational software that teaches children to code using emojis, making programming more accessible and engaging from the young.
I love that idea. What about using this kind of system for artistic expression? We talked earlier about AI-powered creativity. Could this be a way to translate emotions or even dreams into music or visual art?
Absolutely. Imagine an
it's
AI
fucking
system that
bad,
could analyze the emotional tone of your voice or the imagery in your dreams and create a musical composition or a painting that reflects those feelings.
Now, that's what I call a personalized playlist. It's making me think about the potential for communication as well. Emojis already transcend language barriers to some extent. Could this project lead to a more universal way of communicating, not
I'm
just
gonna fucking
between
die.
humans, but
I shouldn't
perhaps
even
even
ran in
between
here.
humans and machines?
I just like do
It's
this
a
out of
fascinating
habit
thought.
because I'm
If
terrified.
J. Mike DuPont's system can create a robust and nuanced language from something as simple as emojis, who's to say what other forms of
I
communication
need to start
we
trying to
might
hit
be able
people
to
with
unlock?
slow. I don't know how to play a fucking
This
wizard
deep dive
solo.
has really opened my mind to the possibilities. But it's also highlighted the importance of ethical considerations as we venture further into the world of AI. If we're talking about machines that can understand and respond to our emotions, create art, maybe even communicate on a deeper level, we need to be very thoughtful about how we design and implement them.
I completely agree. It's not enough to just ask. We also need to ask ourselves, should we?
You fucked up.
And how do we
You
do
piece of
this?
shit.
So for our listener who's been on this wild ride with
Damn,
us,
homie.
what's
Little
the big
Timmy.
takeaway? Should we all be brushing up on our emoji vocabulary in
Let's see,
preparation
what
for
do we
the
got?
emoji coding
Oh shit.
revolution?
Yeah.
Well, I
Fuck
wouldn't
you. What are you
necessarily say
wearing?
that emoji coding is going to be the
MR20?
next big job requirement.
No
But
shot.
there are some valuable lessons we can glean from J. Mike DuPont's
Yeah, no shot.
experiment. First and
Well.
foremost, be open to new ideas, even if they seem unconventional or even a little strange at first.
Let's
Don't
see.
be afraid to think outside the box, or in this
Solo
case,
wizard?
outside the
Yeah, okay.
traditional
I don't know if we
text-based
can
code
handle it.
editor.
Exactly. Embrace curiosity and a willingness to experiment. And remember that innovation often happens at the intersection of different fields. So whether you're a programmer,
Let's
an
take a look at
artist,
it,
a
actually,
philosopher,
and
or just someone who
see
loves to
what he
explore new
was-
ideas, be open to learning from different perspectives and disciplines.
It's about making connections,
Because they didn't
seeing
like
the world
they just
through
gave the
multiple
general
lenses,
overview of the
and
thing
never losing
as
that sense of
opposed
wonder and
to-
possibility.
Well said. Because in the end, that's what J. Mike DuPont 2's project really highlights. The power of human ingenuity
Does
and
he
our endless
have-
capacity
yeah,
to
so
imagine
oh,
and create
okay,
new
he only
worlds,
gave me the
even if those worlds are built with something as simple and familiar as an emoji.
Yeah.
It's been a fascinating journey exploring the potential of emojis to be more than just
Yeah,
cute
he only gave me
icons.
the
From visual programming languages to
I don't know
AI-powered
which
art, and the
episode
very
of time
nature
it
of
is
consciousness
because there's a
we
new one
cover
every
a
day.
lot of ground today.
But
And
It's
who
all
knows what
gangsta
the
shit.
future holds? Perhaps someday we'll look back on this conversation and
See, the
realize that the
problem
seeds of
with-
a technological revolution were planted one emoji at a time.
Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, keep those brains buzzing. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
I was druid maining last time, and of course we could always do the actual leveled thing. But both of those, I would say like all of those actually. I would say all of those. ZKP, okay, that actually will probably be interesting. And then after that, are we done with notebooks? And we have a couple other things, I think. I was gonna watch or listen to the CUDA mode keynote. That sounds good, but we might save that for another day. I'm about to like wrap it up, I think. So I'm gonna go like make dinner or shit, but we'll
Ever
do one
feel
more.
like proving something online means putting it all out there? Like you want that extra security, but not at the cost
mean-
of, well, your entire digital life.
You got
Yeah,
it.
you want
you
proof
gotta,
without
you
the
know? If you're
overshare.
soloing,
That's
you
the whole
gotta.
point of zero-knowledge proofs.
And today, we're diving into a major breakthrough in that world, the arithmetized random
Where's
oracle
Crush?
model, AROM for short.
Catchy, right. But it's more than just a cool name. We're talking about proving something's true, like
Can I,
definitively true,
okay,
without
I
giving up
go
the something
here?
itself.
Okay, I'm picturing some serious magic trickery
And then I
here.
gotta
Think of it
go
like this. Imagine proving you have the winning lottery
Purchase.
ticket,
I gotta
but
Squire.
keeping those lucky numbers a secret. That's
Okay.
essentially what AROM helps us do.
Okay, now that's a secret I wouldn't mind keeping. But on a more serious
need
note,
move
why
speed.
is this such a big deal in the digital world?
Speed 7.
Because so
That's
much of what we
crazy.
do
I didn't know
online
that
depends on
doing that shit now.
verifying information. Secure transactions, proving your identity without handing over your social security number, even knowing that a software update is legit before you download it. It all comes down to trust. But trust backed by proof.
Right, and that's where these zero-knowledge proofs, and now AROM, come in. But I have to admit,
I find a
AROM
fucking
sounds
server,
a little
do a shit.
intimidating.
It's actually a really elegant solution to a challenge that's been around for a while. You see, cryptography used to rely
I
on
hope they
this
don't
thing
use,
called
like,
the
naughty
Random Oracle
words. They
Model,
might,
or ROM.
I should
Hit
probably,
me
like,
with
turn
the
that shit
analogy. I
off,
feel
but
like
we'll
one's
see.
coming.
Okay, imagine ROM is like relying on a magic 8 ball for security.
Okay, that's a visual I can get behind, but not exactly reassuring for building a secure future on.
Exactly. Previous
Diablo
models,
caves.
like something called Eldrom, don't worry too much about the name, were basically trying to build that secure future on a shaky foundation. AROM comes in with a whole new blueprint, like swapping out that 8-ball for, say, a state-of-the-art security system.
So
Huh.
AROM is still using randomness, which
Yeah,
you said
I
is key
need
for
to grab
zero-knowledge
the actual
proofs,
docs
but
for
in a way that's
these
actually,
that,
well, reliable.
Mike sent me these.
Exactly. It's mathematically sound and potentially even quantum resistant.
And I'm
meaning
a kind
even
of a
with
ZK nerd, even
incredibly
though I have no
powerful
idea how the
computers,
fucking math works. but
breaking these
it's
proofs
cool.
would be a monumental task.
Quantum resistant. I'm just gonna let that
Quantum
sink in for a
resistant,
second.
baby.
But let's back up a bit. How does this new blueprint actually work? Some of the language
Do
in
tell.
these research papers was a little dense, to say the least.
Okay, think of it this way. AROM takes a complex recipe,
Yeah, I have to play the solo class for
cryptographers
babies
call
now
a
because I
cryptographic hash
don't play this
function,
game enough anymore.
and turns it into a
be
simple
competent.
algebraic equation, a polynomial.
I'm also just bad.
Hash functions. You're speaking.
I would be able to stop
But remind me
playing
what
them.
those are again.
Consider.
A hash function is basically like a fingerprint for data. No matter how big or small
It's a
the data
problem.
is, the hash function takes it and creates a unique fixed-size
Gimme
code.
fucking gimme.
So it takes a whole bunch of information and boils it down to a single
yeah.
unique
Oh, yeah.
identifier.
Exactly. And a polynomial is just a
Ooh,
with
explain that,
variables
please.
and coefficients, like those equations you might have seen in high school algebra.
Okay,
AROM
I'll
takes those
fucking
unique
Google it
fingerprints,
later. I
those
don't know.
hash codes.
I have like a vague understanding
I'm
of some of these math
vaguely
things,
remembering some
but
algebra.
it's like, okay.
But why is that
Arbitrary
significant?
math
How does
thing.
that help us with these zero-knowledge proofs?
Thought I heard
Because
somebody saying
polynomials
words.
are much easier for computers to work with. This makes the entire process of creating and verifying zero-knowledge proofs way more efficient. And for you, that translates to faster online experiences and stronger security.
So AROM is basically like the energy drink of zero-knowledge proofs.
I like that analogy. It's
Good shit.
giving those proofs a serious boost in efficiency and speed.
This is already blowing my mind and we're just getting started. One thing I kept seeing in the research was this phrase, succinct arguments. What's so succinct about them?
Succinct just means short and sweet in this context. Remember how we talked about hash functions compressing data into those unique fingerprints? Well, AROM leverages that in a way that creates insanely concise proofs.
Okay, we're talking data compression on a whole other level here, right?
Exactly. Imagine shrinking a proof that would normally
Oh, I
take up
didn't even change my
gigabytes of
fucking
data
skills.
down to
What a
just a few
goober.
kilobytes. That's the power of AROM.
Wow, that's some serious digital downsizing. What's the real-world impact of
shit.
that kind of efficiency?
Think about software updates. Right now, you download a massive file and just cross your fingers hoping it's legit. With AROM, you could potentially download
Yo, where's
a
this
tiny
fucking goblin
proof
going, dude?
that instantly
What the fuck?
verifies the update's
These guys are so
authenticity
weird, dude.
and that it hasn't been
Happening is
tampered with.
crazy.
No more blind trust, no more worrying about malicious code.
Okay, that's a future I can get behind.
Malignant
Give it to me one more
code.
time.
You heard
How
it here
does
first, ladies and
AROM
gentlemen.
achieve this magic trick of making these
Gimme.
proofs so small?
It's all about how AROM structures the underlying math.
Okay,
It's like
there's
finding a
supposed to be
shortcut on a really
another
long, winding
here,
road.
I thought.
You get to the same
Maybe not.
destination,
I don't have
but
to stop.
way faster.
So AROM is like the Waze or Google Maps of cryptography, finding the most efficient route to a secure outcome.
I like that analogy. AROM is all about elegance and efficiency, making zero-knowledge proofs more
Shit.
practical and accessible for everyone.
This is already so much to process, but I have to admit, I'm hooked. What else can we do with these super efficient, succinct proofs?
That's where things get really interesting.
So you're saying these succinct arguments, these
those
compressed
the
proofs,
Mino ones?
they're like the key to unlocking a whole new
Those
world
fucking
of
footsteps
applications for
always troll me.
zero-knowledge proofs.
Exactly. They open up possibilities we were
Holy-
just scratching the surface of before. One area where AROM could completely change the game is improving things about massive data sets.
Okay, now you have my attention. What kind of data are we talking about
Knowledge
here?
3 kind of
Imagine a company wants to prove they're following all those privacy regulations, but without actually revealing all their customer data. Or a researcher wants to publish their big findings from a huge
Fine.
study, but doesn't want to make all the data public.
Because that could be very sensitive information, both for the company and the people whose data it is.
Right.
True.
And that's where proof-carrying data comes in.
Who's carrying data? Okay, you're gonna have to break that one down. for
Yes,
me.
you are.
Instead of handing over a mountain of documents, they could provide a small,
Oh,
verifiable
they're just
proof.
explaining because they can't be used.
Think of it like a summary, the one that proves the essential
Yum.
information is true without giving it
Delicious.
all away.
So instead of sharing the entire book, you're giving someone a summary with like a digital stamp of authenticity.
That's a great way to put it. They get the key takeaways, but without the extra baggage. Less risk, less hassle.
That's pretty incredible. How would that even work in practice? Would I, like, as a regular person online, even notice a difference?
You probably wouldn't even see it happening, but behind the scenes, AROM will be doing its thing. Say you're applying for a loan online. In the future, with AROM, you might just share a small proof that verifies your creditworthiness instead of sharing your entire financial history.
Whoa, that would be a game changer. No more handing over my entire digital
away
life
from
just to
section.
get a loan. But we're talking about serious compression here, shrinking things down.
We love it.
Is there any kind of
I'm surprised I
compromise
can't
on
wear
security
salads.
to make
Weird.
the proofs smaller?
Actually, AROM makes it even more secure. About it being potentially quantum resistant.
Yeah, like future-proof security.
Hello?
Exactly. That means
Wow.
even with incredibly powerful computers, even quantum
Yummy.
computers, it would be insanely difficult for someone to break these proofs.
So it's like having a bank vault, but instead of guards, it's
No,
guarded
that's
by
not
an
what I wanted
army
to
of
do,
those
but sure.
super-powered robots from the movies.
It's a pretty robust system. AROM lays down a foundation that makes these proofs incredibly difficult to handle. It's like having a digital signature that's pretty much impossible to forge.
Okay, that's seriously impressive. So we've got tiny proofs, super fast verification, and security that's as future-proof as it gets. What's next? What other digital mountains is AROM moving for us?
One fascinating area is how it's being used to address something called accumulation schemes.
Ooh, that's tempting.
Accumulation
Yeah,
schemes.
and-
Okay, now
yeah,
you're just
okay, I
using
can't
big
argue with
words
that.
to impress me.
It's not as complicated as it sounds. Think of it like this.
Are you
You
impressed?
have a whole chain
got a
of
shot, dude.
transactions,
I believe
like on a
in you.
blockchain, for example. Now,
Yummy.
verifying each of those transactions individually can take time, can take resources.
It's like checking every single link in a chain to make sure it's secure.
And with
I know
AROM,
there is a way out
accumulation
here, and then there's
schemes can
another-
streamline that whole process. Instead of verifying
fuck it.
each transaction separately, you can combine the proofs for multiple transactions into one succinct proof. It's like verifying the integrity of the entire chain with a single glance.
So AROM is basically making it possible to check an entire chain of transactions as easily as checking just one. That's insane. But how does that impact me, the person actually
Yeah,
using
who's
these
using this?
systems?
It means faster transaction speeds,
That's
lower
yummy.
costs, a smoother online experience overall.
That.
Think about a world where sending cryptocurrency is as instant and seamless as,
This.
say, sending a text message.
Dashing.
Okay, now I'm really seeing how this all fits together. AROM isn't just about
Okay,
these
yeah, that's-
abstract
that's hard
mathematical
to
concepts. It's about actually
I think I
revolutionizing
should
how we interact
like
online,
it would be
making
correct.
things
I think,
faster,
to where
more
the light
secure,
flips,
and more
'cause I need
private.
speed,
You got it.
otherwise
It's a
people are just
foundational
gonna fight
technology
me
with the
until I
potential to transform a
just
ton of
explode.
industries and applications. And honestly, we're only just scratching the surface of what's possible with it.
Well, my mind is
But
thoroughly
I like
blown.
tanky.
Before we go any further down the rabbit hole of technical jargon, is there anything AROM can't do? It's starting to sound like the Swiss Army knife of cryptography.
That's a great question. And it's an important one to ask.
It is.
Because while Iran is a
Do tell.
massive step forward, it's not
I
a
want this.
magical solution to every cryptographic
Oh,
problem.
well, I don't get
It's
that.
about finding the right balance.
Right, because you could have the most secure system in the world, but if it's so complicated that no one can figure out how to use it, what's the point?
And that's where ongoing research and development come in. You have brilliant cryptographers out there constantly refining techniques, optimizing, exploring new ways to
good, people.
apply AROM and all these other incredible zero-knowledge proof systems. It's a field that never sits still.
That's pretty wild to think about. So as we're sitting here marveling at AROM, there are people out there already working on the next big thing.
Absolutely. AROM is proof of what we can accomplish with human ingenuity. It's this constant drive to create a more secure and trustworthy digital world.
Why do I have a
it
drum in my
really makes
inventory,
you
you
step back
ask?
and think about the mind
Because
of
you can
people
throw
who
them
can't
at people.
comprehend this level of mathematics, let alone find ways to use it to solve.
They're
real
actually
world
really good for
problems.
that.
pretty
They do a
amazing,
shitload
for
of
sure.
damage.
But one of the things I love about
Why
AROM
they
is
make it that way, I have
you
no
don't
idea.
need
That's
to
a
be
really
a
good ring. though.
cryptography expert to grasp its impact. It has the potential to benefit
Kinda wanna
everyone,
just, like, chill.
regardless of technical expertise.
That's what I love about these
general
guys.
area for
We
a
can
minute.
take these complex, almost
Oh my God, I'm an
intimidating
idiot.
topics
I knew
and
that was
find a
there
way to
too.
make them understandable and interesting for everyone.
It's about making that knowledge accessible,
be,
right? Empowering people to be informed about the technology shaping
Little
their
goober
lives.
in here.
Speaking of being informed, there's a term that keeps popping up in the research that I wanted to get your take on. Macaulay's SMART. It sounds like something straight out of a science fiction novel.
It does sound pretty futuristic. It stands for succinct, non-interactive.
My life, what the fuck?
Okay, so still a zero knowledge proof, just with a much cooler name.
Basically,
True.
yes. But what makes it so special is that it's insanely efficient. The proofs it creates are tiny, and they can be verified unbelievably fast.
We're talking about those super fast, super efficient proofs again, right?
there we
The
go.
ones that are going to revolutionize online transactions and make everything lightning
Revolutionize.
fast.
You got
No
it.
one is
And
allowed
you know
to
what's
use that
really
word.
cool?
Oh my god.
AROM is actually crucial to making Macaulay's Snark work so well.
So AROM is
So
like
made
the
up.
silent superhero sidekick to all these awesome cryptographic innovations.
I love that analogy. And remember that fiat Shamir heuristic we talked about earlier?
Vaguely. Refresh my memory. What was that one again?
The one that helps turn interactive proofs into non-interactive proofs.
Oh, right, because those non-interactive proofs are the efficient ones.
Bad over
Right.
here, I think.
Instead of going back and forth, the prover
two.
just creates
Yeah,
a
there is.
single proof, and the verifier checks it.
Oh my god, I
No
hate
more
that
back
shit.
and forth.
Okay,
Got
no.
it like sending a letter instead of having to schedule a whole phone call. So how does that tie back into AROM and Macaulay's Snark?
Well, Macaulay's
Nice.
Snark, it relies heavily on the fiat Shamir heuristic
Oh, I didn't
to
know that was a
achieve
thing.
those insane speeds.
Fuck.
And guess what? AROM provides a more secure foundation for the fiat Shamir heuristic.
Okay, so it's like AROM is the
Okay, I don't
behind-the-scenes MVP, making sure all these
Sorry
non-interactive
guys,
proofs,
you lost me.
like the ones used in Macaulay's
fuck are
Snark,
these things?
are as secure as they are efficient.
Exactly. It's like
Oh no.
different cryptographic tools working in perfect harmony.
I feel like I need to invest in a whiteboard and maybe brush up on my advanced math skills
True.
to keep up with all of
Unironically.
this. But seriously, it's pretty
Ooh,
amazing
actually,
to see
that'll
how
be
these
good
pieces fit
later.
together to make the digital world more secure.
It's a puzzle,
Yeah,
a constantly evolving one. But AROM
There's two.
and these
Okay.
zero-knowledge
Alright,
proofs,
fuck you.
they're unlocking all kinds of possibilities. And I, for one, can't wait to see what's next.
But let's take a moment to think about the bigger picture for a second. How might this tech
Fuck
change
you.
how we think about privacy and security online?
Now that's a question worth exploring.
So we've covered how AROM can make things online faster, more secure, more private,
Interaction. Oh,
but
that's
it
actually maybe
feels even
sellable.
bigger than that. It's like this could completely
God, I
change
wanna
how we
keep
think about our data.
It
all
really
this.
could. Right now, it's like we're stuck in this all or nothing situation. You want a loan. Okay, we'll hand over all your financial history. Want to prove you're old enough to use a website? Give us your birth date.
Hello?
AROM changes that.
It's
Why
like
not?
we're stuck in the digital dark
Time
ages,
to go.
shouting all our
Time to get the
personal
fuck outta
info
here.
into the void just to prove we're worthy.
AROM is like inventing the digital equivalent of
Oh my
a
god,
whisper.
this is gonna.
You can prove you meet the requirements without broadcasting
Let me
the
through.
information
Thank you.
itself. It puts the user back in control.
I like that. Instead of being at the mercy of every website
outta
and online
here.
service that wants our data, we have more
Ow.
control.
I knew
more
that was
say
there
in
again.
what we share.
Exactly. AROM could be the foundation for a whole new kind of digital identity. One where you control your information.
We good?
You choose how
Am I out?
Instead of having this
Okay,
giant
fuck.
digital footprint that follows us everywhere,
Can we get level
we
5 off
could
that,
have
please?
more, I don't know, more specific control. Like I
I
could have a
know,
proof
buddy.
that verifies I'm a certified yoga instructor, but it doesn't have to reveal my name, my address, all that.
Exactly.
Oh, is this dude
Or
gonna...
you could prove you have
gonna
enough
get
money
this
to
other
buy
dude?
something online without revealing your
Look at
entire
this
bank
dude.
account balance to the seller.
That's the kind of future I
Is he
want to
still-
live.
Oh no, he's
But I
dead.
have to ask,
Okay.
with any powerful
boys.
tool, there's always the risk someone will try to
Level 5,
misuse
please.
it. Are there risks with
Yum,
AROM we
delicious.
should be thinking about?
You're right to be cautious.
So this
Any
is
technology
gonna
can
go
be
in
used
here.
for good or bad.
Mod stuff.
With AROM, it's about making sure the systems built on top of it are designed
So
with ethics
this
and
I can
security in
use,
mind
this I
from the
can
ground up.
So it's not
use,
that
this I can
AROM
go
itself is
there.
necessarily risky, but it's about making sure it's not used to
Gonna
create
sell
new
this
problems
crap.
even as it
That
solves
might
old
be
ones.
useful.
Exactly. Think of it like a hammer.
Yeah.
It's a tool. You can build a house with
Yeah,
it or
maybe.
you can misuse it. AROM's power is in creating convincing proofs. So it's crucial those proofs
Sell
are being
that.
used in systems we trust.
That makes sense. We need those safeguards.
Keep that.
So for someone listening to all of this,
Yeah.
what's the key takeaway?
What's
Because
the key
this is
takeaway,
seriously
please?
groundbreaking stuff, but it's also, well, a lot to wrap
My
your
brain
head
is
around.
gonna explode.
I think the biggest
if you keep
takeaway here
going.
is that AROM is changing what's possible with digital
I
security
think I
and
keep that.
privacy. It's letting us move past this idea that
think
proving
you need
something
those.
always requires
Something-
revealing
some
everything.
quest
It's
or
like that
another.
phrase, trust
Actually,
but
speaking
verify.
of, I should double
AROM is
check.
giving us a way to verify without needing blind trust
Actually.
in the first place.
Exactly. And that has huge implications
Nice.
for how we interact
Thanks, shit.
online, how we protect our
Yes,
data,
sir.
how we build trust in a digital
Yeah.
world.
This has been incredible. I feel like every time we do these deep dives, I get a
This is
crash
really
course
handy.
in the
I'm
future.
glad I
The
have these
future
now.
is being written right now, and AROM is a big part of that story.
Well, I'm excited to see what the next
Reliable
chapter holds. Thanks for
medicine.
joining me on
I
this
don't think
deep
I
dive. And
picked
for
it up
everyone
or
listening,
not.
remember, your data, your rules, AROM might just be the tool that helps you enforce them.
No. Away with the green skins, okay. Yeah? Yeah, there we go. Whoa, that's a new one. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, does he need... Oh, no, armor scrap. I was gonna say, who needs bat wings? Yeah? Nice. I think I got anything. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Okay, now I can go here. Sell this stuff, and I keep this thing, I think. I think there also actually is one for that, but I'm not gonna save it because I think it's like way far away. And then I go like this. And then that's gonna be drum I can keep, Franny I can keep, campfire I can keep, and then we get some of these. Let's see. What's the plan? I have to write 2 articles, I think, at the moment. And I was gonna write them in. Why does this shit not work anymore? What the fuck? Hello? Iron Mace, fix your game. Yeah, I was gonna use Cursor to write them. So I might like stream that, I don't know, tomorrow or something. And then I want to try and hit, or like I need to hit a bounty of some kind. So the plan there is, or right now I'm working on, I'm like fumbling through Rust, and I should probably like basically it's going to depend on what the GitHub comment is on the draft PR, and it's going to be like, hey, like don't give us dog shit AI generated PRs, which it is mostly an AI generated PR, but it's not a dog shit one. I tried, I worked on it all day. Okay, cut me some slack. But if it's like, hey, like just fucking leave it alone, then I probably will see if they have any docs ones up, because I do want to work on that project. Screenpipe, go check it out. But in theory, if I can actually, I'm not really doing anything like interesting to figure out the Rust thing. I'm just like spamming it at O1 mini over and over until it tells me what's going on. But I think oh yeah, Saturday is supposed to be config day too. Well, maybe we'll do some config tomorrow. Oh yeah, and tomorrow's Basement AGI Club actually. So, I'm gonna start it off around like 1-ish in PST my time. I don't know, Google it and figure out what time it is for you, I guess. Or come in Discord because it's on the calendar. That works too. And yeah, so if you happen to catch the West Coast ML presentation, and some of those notebook LMs, you would know that I'm fairly obsessed with entropics right now. I know it's hit the mainstream, and now it's not benchmarked, and everybody's freaking out about it, and then they're not, or whatever. But I liked it before it was cool. Thank you very much. So I have been continuing to, as you heard, collect basically everything I can find in terms of like, okay, if we look at the sampler, and then we look at the optimizer, and then we look at the fucking like pre-training and the LoRa, and like, and just look at every single fucking part of the thing, and then like, yeah, the COT decoding I think I might try to do. So basically what I want to do is take a given model, or whatever is the best one at the time. Probably I would say like Quen would be where would be at, or like maybe DeepSeek, I don't know. I think they're like both kind of the same, except DeepSeek is just for coding. And then I want to juice it up to shit. And then if we can do it with like an 8B and have it be like actually pretty sick, Prime Intellect is doing the first, I would say, like reasonably large scale. It's just they're training at 10B, but they're training at decentralized with an implementation of Deloco that they juiced up. So if we can get like an 8B that's like pretty gas because we have re-optimized every possible aspect of it, that would be sick. And then the Cerberus API right now, although since it'll be API, it won't even work. But I don't know. If it works, then maybe we can hit up Cerberus and be like, hey, can you throw this on your cards so we can just give it away for free? And then we could have like a badass open source model that's just like sitting there for anybody to use if they need. That's like, that would be the ideal goal, but we have to get there first. So tomorrow, I think I'm gonna check in on Entropics, and then I'm gonna like try and give everybody the QRD on like the other stuff that I found in my vague plan, and then we will either just like break from there, hack on it over the week and come back, or like I don't know, we'll end up going a different direction, or just like hanging out and shooting the shit about what insane shit we could possibly do. Like it's still, deep learning's so fucking weird, dude. Like none of it's supposed to work, but if you just do random shit until it does something, then half the time you get these stupid optimizations. It's nuts. But yeah, I think so. That's the plan for tomorrow, I think, and I will stream at least the first portion of that, and then we may move to the secret enclave for anything that's relatively sensitive that we don't quite want to share with everybody yet. If we have any of those, there's some thoughts floating around, but nothing too crazy. Is it Achilles Rage? Like it is, right? Or it's either Achilles Rage or Achilles Savage Roar, but I think it's Rage because you need speed. And then equip. Nice. Yeah, I think that will be the plan, and then yeah, I don't know, I might do like a stream like this again because there was, I don't know, let me look at the eyeball count. I don't know, it may be that like my restream is fucking up, but I didn't see anybody in chat, so if you said stuff in chat and I missed you, I'm sorry, but what if you didn't and you just watched me play video games and listen to weird shit about weird shit? I hope it was entertaining for you. But yeah, I don't know, like this was kind of nice in that it made me feel productive while I was playing video games, which is always nice. I know it wasn't. I probably didn't get anything of value, but I tend to collect papers faster than I can read them, so it might be good to like do like a spam notebook LM at them and then figure out which ones I actually want to read as like a efficiency thing. It could be cool. Okay, we'll do that. So yeah, maybe I'll see you tomorrow if you are a human person, or if you are my one loyal Twitch bot viewer who shows up every time faithfully. I love it. But yeah, hopefully you learned something. Yo, what's Deadlock? Oh shit, see? It didn't show up in my restream, my bad. State Port Soundwave. And it was on the fucking screen the whole time. Oh my god. Is it in my restream now? Of course it is. What's Deadlock, the game of the Lord? So the Deadlock was the game we were playing earlier that hurt my wrists. Dark and Darker was the game we were just playing, and then we were listening to the podcasts generated by notebooklm. Oh, okay, cool. I was like fucking like I've been hawkeyeing this shit for the whole stream. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be on top of it today. So I was good. I am on top of it still. Yeah, so I guess the stream recap is we played Deadlock and we crushed, and that was cool. And listened to, I guess, yeah, I should grab so the podcasts were for a variety of papers, which I wish you could share like the actual notebook LM, but they only let you share the podcast part, which kind of annoys the shit out of me, but what are you gonna do? Excellent. I'm glad. I appreciate this. That's why I do it, is because I need the social validation in order to like make myself code or like do interesting stuff instead of just like play video games and rot in my room, because that's what I'll do if I don't game myself with approval from external sources. It's good shit. Um, yeah, so the main, I guess, things that we covered, if are folks who are interested in the weird tech shit, one is, as you heard, the our podcaster friend J. Mike DuPont has a bunch of shit. There's a big repo called Time where he basically like does a giant chronology of like makes something every day that's like absolutely insane, and I love it. Um, so you can look at that if you want. The other, I would say, the key ones that we picked up were we listened to a bit about the Rust programming book, because I wrote Rust today without knowing how to write Rust, and that was messy. And then the things that, if you're interested in nerd shit, you should read Chain of Thought Reasoning Without Prompting, or you should go back and watch the West Coast ML stream from Thursday, because we're going to do that again next week, probably. And then you should also look at Entropics, which is a GitHub repo. If you just search on GitHub for Entropics with an X, then you will find that. And then I have like 20 more papers that are all related to that shit, but I won't like go list all of them off individually because that would probably be annoying. But there should be a link to Discord somewhere, and I have them all stashed there if you really want to know. But yeah, we will see you tomorrow for Basement AGI Club. GG. Where's the button?